Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. Get some weed in now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today is a most joyous occasion. For the first time of all time, for this here Council of Kenobi, where we will be discussing weekly the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hell yeah!
I am joined by the entirety of the Bitches 5. I'm going to go through you one by one. Starting up here with Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here. So glad I could be part of the Bitches 5 today.
Oh, buddy, it's always good to have you. It's always good to have you. And these next three, I mean, it's been too long. It's been too long.
Welcome back, boys.
I am joined by KBZ Kyler Barnett. What is up, homie?
Not much. I'm getting big time like Chicago Bulls starting five like vibes from that announcement. I think if the music wasn't copyrighted, we could definitely do that. I mean, I'd be ready to run through the brick wall, electric factory, all of the.
It's Stone Cold's fucking glass shattering, baby.
Yeah. No, it's great to be back.
Oh, and it is great to have you. We are also joined, of course, by Tillman McClunie. What's up, homie?
A pleasure to be back. I don't want to hear any Mando talk, any Book of Boba talk, none of this future Star Wars show talk. This is the moment we waited for. This is the moment we have waited 2 years for. I'm pumped and excited to be here to talk about this great show and this greatness that is to come in this show. I'm happy to be back.
Oh, and I am happy to have you. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, is that a word? I am joined by Miles Buttress. What's up, homie?
Hey, man, it's been a minute. We're finally all making our return to talk about something that's been 2 decades in the running. We've been waiting 2 decades to see Space Jesus on screen again.
Let's talk this shit, man, because all of us, everyone whom's here, born 1999 or 2000 or 2001, some of us, or 2002, some of of still 2000.
No, I'm 2000.
Oh damn!
2000.
I was like, I know you weren't born in 2002, Kyler. Don't fuck me up like that.
No.
I was like, don't fuck me up like that, Kyler. I know you're 21. We grew up with Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is, a character of the utmost importance to all of us, I would assume. And
my father.
To finally get him back on screen, what a goddamn treat. 17 years since Revenge of the Sith here? And 23 years since The Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan Kenobi first popped up on our screens, being performed by Ewan McGregor anyway. My God, what a fucking joy.
It's just such a legacy character for me. I mean, and also the fact that first, Phantom Menace came out in 99, right?
Yeah.
And then we get, like you said, Revenge of the Sith in 2005. Is that right?
Yes.
So, the fact that he was able to get that, and he looked so young in that first movie, to then, all of a sudden now it's, like you said, it's 17 years later, and it's just incredible to see him back on the screen. I haven't seen anybody's reception really differ from that, and I wasn't necessarily expecting to feel any different about it, but it still was just a shock, that feeling.
Oh man, it was joyous. There was something about this prior to coming into it. The realness of it didn't hit me until I was watching that recap. And when I watched that recap and I went, oh, so we're continuing that story.
The story.
The story that has been so big in my life since I was goddamn 5, bro. Since I was fucking 5, the story's been a big deal to me. What the fuck?
There's a difference watching the movies on their own and seeing all those moments and everything, but then seeing them as a recap for a TV show, I was like, I don't know, it put me in a different mood. I'm like, oh my, wait, I'm seeing the movies right here. Like, this is it. This is the source material. It's right here as I'm like, I don't know. It was like a whole different feeling to it. And I'm like, wait, like, I don't know. I was such a crybaby. Like in the first couple like minutes, I was just like, oh, come on, man. Like, they're starting out with their recap and then giving us Order 66. Like, they were giving us everything we'd ever want. And, I was just, I don't know. What an electric start to this TV show. I don't know. Different than Mando, different than Book of Boba, different than all of them. It's in a league kind of different.
And we will certainly get to some more of that. But first, I want to hear from Miles Buttress and Tillman McClunie. One of you, tell me how the fuck you felt about getting Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan Kenobi today.
Well, look, shout out to Gen Z and the millennials. If you watch the multiple interviews that Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen gave, they talked about how, they didn't feel the love and appreciation off of the prequels. Everything was based off of critics because social media wasn't such a big thing back then. So their impression for the past, it's crazy to think about, for the past 17 to 20 years has been, our movies sucked and people hate us for them. And they just don't like the movies. There was an underappreciation for them. But they said as social media has started to grow and technology has advanced, they see the love and appreciation that our generations have had for such movies. And so shout out to us, first of all. So seeing that Disney, made that investment to bring something of the prequels, to life in a live action, not even an animated, series, a live action series, and to go get Ewan McGregor, go get Hayden Christensen and bring them back in. Even the actor that plays Senator Organa,
Jamie Smith,
bringing him back. Yeah, they're bringing these characters back, and for them to also, agree to come back after receiving that backlash and whatnot. Beautiful. It was so exciting to see Ewan. Ewan is a very sexy man. I'm just saying, just look at him.
I want to give that man a kiss.
I want to give him a little more than a kiss, but sure.
Control me, daddy. Miles Buttress, since you're chiming in here.
Hey,
let me know how you felt about it, besides Ewan McGregor being one sexy goddamn man.
As I said, damn near 2 decades we've been waiting on it. When did Mandalorian come out again?
2019.
2019.
Tillman, get your boy, dog. He did it.
No. I'm not talking about the show. Since we first started talking about that show. So I
don't
guess
even talk about it.
2019.
It was December 2020.
We did the podcast for it. We did this podcast for it in 2020.
Trash. Compared to Kenobi. Go ahead.
Listen, all trash. Cool.
Since
we started talking about that, we've talked about how, all right, we're finally getting that post Death Star version 2 explosion, post episode 6. We're finally getting to see this timeline laid out. Ever since we saw that, everything that we wanted after that was, all right, now give us something between episode 3 and episode 4. Give me some Space Daddy.
Give me Jesus.
Give me some cummies.
Come.
Let me see him.
Control me, daddy.
And you know what? Seeing him pop up on screen for the first time, the recap.
The
recap loved it. And I thought, ooh, we're gonna hop right into it. We're gonna see some Space Daddy. Give it to me. And then they show me, instead of that, they show me the culling of the Jedi Order. You're gonna see some younglings cut down. Oh, loved it. Oh, just getting to start on that, seeing all these, Master Anakin, what do we do?
But of course, it's Disney, so they didn't give it to us, just happens off screen,
Listen, we didn't see any children die, which not surprising, but
we
saw
did see
quite
some
a few
live.
We saw quite a few Jedi get shot up.
Now, Now that we've all gotten out just how fucking ready and excited we were for the series, how happy we were to see everyone back, we're covering both part 1 and part 2 today, as it was a 2-part release. And for that, we're doing a double-sized episode breakdown, scene by scene. So I say we get into it.
Damn, what a click of the can right there.
I know, it's never been so good. It's never been
honestly,
so
people probably thought that was edited. That was real life done by Colton, by the way.
I'm 4 deep, fellas. Let's get it. So, we're going to start with part 1. Both episodes directed by Deborah Cho, who is just give her the Star Wars. Give her the Star War, frankly. But let's start. So we kick off, obviously, amidst Order 66. We start with this beautiful shot of the city of the city planet Coruscant, and we're like, "Oh yeah, here we are, baby." And we pan backwards, and the first character we see is a very very young black girl,
Curious,
who I suspect survives this here Order 66, and perhaps goes on to become the third sister, Reva. But nevertheless, the clone troopers go ahead and they raid this bitch. They're coming through. They're blasting, and the masters are trying to hold it down, but they can't. They can't. It is Order 66 after all. We are well aware of how this here goes, and that getting to see the Jedi Temple at the angles we saw it, and getting to hear again for what must be the 100th and 1,000th time. Execute Order 66.
Oh,
I still don't.
I gotta say,
of it.
I love that they didn't just play it once, but it sounded like they let Palpatine pull up to the Jedi Temple, plug his phone into aux, and then just play it on repeat. Because you just kept hearing the entire scene just execute.
He's got the whole fucking MP3 file on repeat.
Nah, they were about to throw a rave in there. What do you mean? That was what was going on.
Order 66. Exactly. Exactly.
Nah, but I think it was. I've loved seeing it. Like, I know it's a topic, like Colton said, has been touched on many times in Star Wars, especially just with the expanded, television shows and stuff. But I think that seeing it now twice in like the newer, I guess, CGI, newer, all this camera work, everything, this new age of that material, it just looks so different. And they're able to do so much more with lighting and color, and just things pop so much harder. And I really enjoy seeing it anyway. It's one of those things that in Star Wars, like, I don't know, especially like we said, our fondness giving that we grew up on them, it just is. Mm-hmm. You can't get tired of anything in this era. I'm not going to be the fan that takes it for granted, I guess.
The episodes dropped 3 hours earlier than was expected. And so obviously at 11 p.m. Friday or Thursday night, I go at Emily's asleep, and I go and I sit at the foot of the bed 3 feet away from the TV. I turn that shit on, turn the volume up to about 5, and I'm like, yeah, let's fucking get it, baby. Because I am so goddamn ready. And it's like, I'm not ashamed by any means. I'm misty-eyed for pretty much the entirety of the first episode.
That's fair.
Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this. And that recap really set the tone, but then getting us right into it, we cut after this Order 66 to 10 years later.
Real quick though, I gotta ask Joseph, did you I know you had work the next day. You didn't stay up and watch it, did you?
No, I did not. I had to wait.
We saw that it was coming out at 11. We were like, oh man, he's probably asleep with an alarm set for 2:00 to wake up for it.
No, I fell asleep before I could even do that. Set the alarm for 2 a.m.
Well,
so.
And I was like, at like 40 or 10:45, I pull it up, just be like, I'm gonna be ready to refresh this at 11, get it started immediately, and I pull it up and it's already up, and I'm like, I was like, it was up at like 10:45. It went up before they said.
I did this thing to Joe where Joe, I don't know if I haven't told you this, but you had like a missed call on Snapchat from me, where I let it ring a few times. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just maybe the phone gives him a couple buzzes and he wakes up and is like, oh shit, he's gonna check the group chat. Kenobi's on. But he didn't even cop to that, you know. So I was like, all right, fair enough. But
I saw it and I even I watched the opening scene. Like I watched the recap. I skipped ahead a little bit past it just to be sure because I was like, I don't believe it's up early. I just got to be sure. I skipped ahead a little bit and I was like, oh my god. Went all the way back to the beginning. Immediately sent a message in for Colton like, it's early. Watch.
Thank you so much because I would have been 13 minutes behind everyone else. But nonetheless, 10 years after this, after the events of Order 66, we pick up and we're in a Mos Eisley cantina, not the one you're thinking of, but one of them. And we see this Imperial shuttle arrive. It's all black. It's foreboding, if you will. And many an Inquisitor, including, the Grand Inquisitor, fifth brother and third sister all hop on off. And they walk into a saloon and approach the manager. And I love the Grand Inquisitor in this scene. And here's why. Palpatine, in overthrowing the present powers that be back when he took over, the Jedi are a scourge. They're going for an overthrowing. They're evil. Don't listen to them. The Grand Inquisitor's like, fuck that, man. They can't help how fucking nice they are. They're so sweet. They are the goodest of boys. And if we draw them out, they can't help themselves but to help.
They can't help that deep base urge to help. It's an itch. And I was like, oh god. It's so fucking evil. I love it.
I love it so much.
They were like, we don't have to catch a Jedi. A Jedi will catch itself.
Yeah. What's the key to catching a Jedi? Patience.
Oh, and it was such a great monologue. And he was spot fucking on. That was such a great point about Jedi.
They're pretty fucking dumb sometimes.
Well, not just dumb.
I mean, not really.
It's not dumb. Really. It's just a need to help. Like they're Jedi. What choice do they have but to aid the people around them? Like they don't see any other way about it.
No way you're gonna let a knife plummet into a dude's face. That's just not gonna happen.
No, it's not.
You're stopping that knife, or you're saving baby Leia.
And hey, we see what happens to this Jedi because he had to help the dude from getting a knife in his face. If he just sits by and watches this dude just get a knife in the nose.
But yes,
he survives.
Amidst all this shit, Grand Inquisi is given his grandest of monologues, and the third sister is like, I can't hear this shit for another fucking second. I'm gonna pick up a knife and I'm gonna chuck it at one of the Safdie brothers' faces. She chucks that shit, and he can't help himself. He has to stop it. And it was kind of funny, and always my Star Wars brain. I'm always like, I always accept the story at face value the first time I watch it, and then beyond that, I give it critical thought. The second time I watch it, I go, why did he hold his hand there?
Yeah, if it's done with your mind,
you're chilling.
He just does it, and then how do they know it's him?
Hey, man, but this was a young man. He must have been a youngling when he was done being trained by the Jedi. He hasn't refined his sensibility with the Force any since then. He's kind of had to hide it. Maybe a little rusty.
I guess. I don't know.
Think about it, though. They kind of, anytime they use the Force, they always...
Even Vader choke.
They always use their hand to, manipulate the Force.
That's true. Fair enough. Absolutely fair. I just wanted to throw the idea out there because I thought it was funny because he did not do a good job of hiding it at all. I mean, even under
I feel like
even under the
he could have he could have just been like hand just underneath the table, like, ooh, stop.
Whoa, who did that?
His mind would probably have to be calm.
But
it's because he's a little bitch.
I mean, he is a little bitch.
Nevertheless, I was very excited because the cast list that was released for the show was fucking nuts. And one of the Safdie brothers being on it, director of Uncut Gems, director of Good Times with Robert Pattinson. This guy directed those, and or was at least half of the directors for those, along with his brother. And I was just so excited to see him pop up as a Jedi, as a Force user. I was like, oh my God, there's another Force user on Tatooine. What the fuck holy shit, what are the odds of that they flee to the same place and cower in the same joint? But, the little chase that ensues, I was very, very happy with that. And, he flees, and it's quite effective. He manages to escape, bringing down a bit of that, awning that was outside of that saloon. That was very cute, very fancy, very stylish little joint there on Tatooine that I would enjoy getting the pleasure to visit. But
I think I just want to stay away from Tatooine entirely.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, if you
like a
make
resort,
this
though.
Saloon up in Batu down in Disneyland or Disney World, I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you also got to think about it from like the way the Star Wars world works. Everyone wants to stay away from Tatooine. Most people on Tatooine aren't there. They're just like, you know what? I'm here on vacation.
I mean, like I said, what are the odds? 2 Jedi went, nobody wants to go to Tatooine.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to go.
Well, it kind of seems like, based on what happens later, maybe he knew Obi-Wan was on Tatooine.
I don't know about
because he kind of stumbled, or maybe he not knew, but maybe he had like an idea that maybe, just maybe, Obi-Wan might have been on Tatooine, and that's why.
I don't think so.
No,
because doesn't he
he had
him,
to.
Yeah, he finds him in the desert and is like,
It was like,
Obi-Wan.
oh my God, I found you.
Well, he was
yes.
like, I thought I saw you, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I guess that's right. He did say, I thought I saw you in the market, so it would have been, just like out and about.
But nevertheless, before this chase ensues, the third sister was ready to cut this man up, but the Grand Inquisitor stopped him, and he was like, hey, you need to chill. She was like, hey, we shouldn't be fucking with this shit. This is low level. And he's like, low level's all we got left. And she was like, that's not true.
We already killed all the high level people.
She said, that's not true, sir. Obi-Wan Kenobi still exists. And he's like, I can't have this shit. Shut the fuck up. We're moving on from Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's not yours to find.
And I don't think it's solely because Vader wants Kenobi for himself. I think it's also like the Empire, they don't have the power to really do whatever they want and kill anyone they want yet. Like, they're not blowing up planets yet, Like that was like the first like strength test is when they blow up all.
Because there's a little part in A New Hope right before that where it's not until that 20 years later after Order 66 that the Imperial Senate doesn't matter.
Yeah. I was going to mention that same point, Colton, because which we'll get to later. We see that the Senate still has a voice and plays a factor in decisions made. We see later on in the show. So that's what I noticed that point because when they talked about A New Hope, they were like, Galactic Senate is basically useless. Like, they don't do anything.
This station is the greatest power in the universe. We should use it.
Damn.
But nevertheless, the Grand Inquisitor says, you got to be cautious with this shit. You got to stop with your fixation on Obi-Wan Kenobi, or you gonna be done here. We gonna be done with you. And
you will get clapped.
You come around this way, you will get clapped. You will. But
man, bummer.
And another place on Tatooine, several workers are working on a giant fucking fish with his meat, and Obi-Wan Kenobi amongst them.
That's job creation right there. An animal died and jobs were created.
There you go.
That's kind of nuts to think. I don't know.
No United States president could ever. But he's slicing up his shit, and he slices off a little last carving for a little bit later, and he's like,
what a guy.
Just a little bit for myself later. Go snack on this shit.
And for his emu.
Oh yeah, his Eopie. His Eopie.
Or Eopie, sorry, emu. What? I don't know where I got
is
that
a
from.
real life animal. Might as well be a Star Wars creature, however.
Yeah, you don't know the emu? That shit haunts my youth.
Emu. Very similar to an ostrich, not quite the same.
They're mean ostriches.
I mean, ostriches, you already don't want to fuck with an ostrich.
Yeah, but emus are dicks.
They're about that action.
I mean,
They are.
Liberty Bibberty. I wouldn't fuck with that guy. I wouldn't fuck with the Limu Emu either. You know.
So I gotta say about the scene though, based on what happens whenever they're all like clocking out, where the dude's like, take your money or I'll take it from you. You know, you wouldn't think they would just be chilling with this dude taking his own little slice of you know, some nice prime Wagyu meat.
Hey, you know, he does.
He's at the back of the line.
He does a little bit of look at this away, look at that away.
That's why he's at the back of the line every time. I mean,
he does it so obviously. Like he doesn't even like try and just quickly like slice it.
He
and put
wraps
it
up very neatly and very
neatly, and then puts it in his little smock, and then is just chilling. And I'm like that dude had to have seen him do it.
Oblivious.
No,
can you just?
I mean,
he's a Jedi.
It's a capitalist system. They're capitalizing off of the workforce's labor.
They're capitalizing off of their labor. They're not going to let him get a free meal.
Fuck no.
I mean, I just feel so bad for our boy because like he's eating so horrendously now. Can you imagine how spoiled he was back at the temple?
Hey man.
I mean, he was going to like Senate gatherings on the regular. He was eating like a king. The king he was, and now look at what he's coming.
There's a reason he's mega depressed now.
There's also a reason why he, you know, this in the sun. That's why he turned into a shriveled raisin as a. You know,
don't you talk about him that way? Don't you do it?
Hey, and I'm seeing too much of this shit online. Like, how does this go to this in 9 years with Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness? And I'm like, oh, sorry that they're played by different fucking actors, you moron.
Well, also,
God
there's
damn,
like a
made without any foresight for what was going to happen 40 fucking years later. You fucking
shit. Could you be more stupid? Holy fuck.
Also, like, there is a decent explanation for that. He's on a planet that's a giant fucking desert with two suns
and
with no
sunscreen.
Yeah.
Homie's gonna get wrinkled.
Yeah. Living in a cave.
He's white. If you don't have sunscreen and you're white, you are fucked. On one
He's basically intergalactic Jimmy Buffett. I mean, let's just call it as it is. I mean, he's just out there vibing, getting cooked.
Also, now since we're talking about like appearances, Colton, Joseph, did you watch Rebels?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I knew Colton did. How do you guys feel about the Grand Inquisitor? Like the appearance
ain't dead, bro.
Hey, we'll get to that. We'll get to that with the part.
Not the dead part. I'm just talking about like the appearance.
The look. I really further removed from the trailer and the closer looks at him. I frankly don't have beef with the way they've translated stuff to live action, and this is another example of how they've done it really well.
There was a live action versus thing you were typing in, Joseph.
He's got the yellow eyes and he's got the lines on his forehead. Like I don't give a shit, man. You know, I just don't care.
That's the thing. This is not better.
Yeah, like, I'm happy it's not that. That
people were running the
prequel.
Gross. Yeah, the prequel look, and like it's not better. Like I prefer what we have over that every day.
I get that people were mad that he didn't look like the animated version, but after watching these episodes, I actually really like the way he looks.
Oh, I think he looks great.
He looks kind of like he's menacing in his own way. Because he
has a fat head. If he has a fat head, people, no one would be like arguing. But he's just a human.
Yeah,
like he's not going to have a slender head like freaking the one in anime.
Well, that's why I'm okay with it because he kind of because of the way they did it, he kind of looks weird, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I'm happy with it too because I mean, I'll just be honest. It just looks like Pennywise if he had bitches. Like the man
Pennywise with bitches, bro.
Yeah, Joseph, that last picture that you just had,
that would look. I'm sorry.
One, that looks horrendous. I would have been mad.
Yeah. Well, and also I don't think given what we've seen, like people are pointing at that scene in Revenge of the Sith, but I just don't see how that. I couldn't foresee that guy doing anything relatively close to athletic. Like, I'm sorry, but that guy looks like he just
that's
like,
something you always got to consider is the prosthetics on these characters have to do.
He is not him. I just don't see it. So I prefer this guy.
It's like the equivalent of like making a character and being like, no, and like having like the person's like only recollection of this being like, I don't know, some fat old dude, and then being like, no, I wanted this athlete to look like him. I wanted Patrick Mahomes to look like this fat old dude. And it's like,
put him in a Kermit the Frog costume.
People look different.
But yeah, so nevertheless, as these workers are exiting the whole shits, one of them is like, yo, this is a half day's pay. And the guy's like, hey, get to fucking stepping, not another word, or I'm taking your entirety of your pay. And Obi-Wan steps up and is like, I could beat that ass right now. Oh, I could. Oh, I wanna.
He gives him a stare that kind of makes the guy realize he's being a dick. Am I the only one that got that vibe? Like, Obi-Wan stared at him and he was like, he's so good and he's so hot and sexy that just within this stare, it got like that big brutish guy to kind of be like, oh, damn, I kind of was a dick right there. That's what I felt like when I was watching.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't get the same vibe. I mean, I've had 5 drinks. I didn't get the same vibe. I thought this dude is just the epitome of everything that's wrong with the powers that be on Tatooine. Just kind of like they're exploiting the shit out of these dudes. They don't give a fuck. They don't see, like, I took this guy as a symbol of hubris. Like, he thinks he's so fucking powerful. Dude, you're watching over a crate dragon getting cut up in the middle of the fucking desert. You ain't shit. Obi-Wan Kenobi could cut you up right now if he wasn't principled, but that man principled.
He could cut him up.
Also, cut him up without even, he doesn't even have his lightsaber on.
I meant with the
still cut him up.
Cleaver,
would just take the cleaver and just would Sharon Carter him, or not Sharon? Yeah,
I know it's Peggy.
Peggy
right?
Carter him.
Peggy Carter.
Peggy Carter.
Peggy Carter, Cummings. But Kenobi duly, he accepts his wage, and he rides on out of town over to Anchorhead, and he meets up with his EOP. And he rides out into the wastelands and goes to his shelter cave, and he cooks himself up a nice little meal. Looks nice and delicious. My favorite genre of shots in Star Wars is food rising out of the container. And
that is nice. And when Rey makes that bread,
and
it
more
comes from the
satisfying,
liquid,
man.
That was nice.
Yeah, but nevertheless, back at his place, he's got a little Jawa visiting, little Tika, who's like, "Suka, motherfucker, give me egg." And they're visiting in the cave, and he's giving him parts, charging him 50 or 100. Kenobi haggles him down to 50 for a little toy. For a little toy for Luke, and I don't know if you guys recognize said toy, but it's one that our boy Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker is playing with in A New Hope. Of the T-16 Skyhopper. We see Mark Hamill holding this toy, and I'm very, very happy that, goddamn, I love all the connections it makes, and this is just a very, very small one that, knowing this toy came from Kenobi is just so overwhelmingly... Like, the amount of things this show is about to do for my viewing of A New Hope is fucking nuts. And we'll get to that more later with Leia.
I wish so bad that, like, we could know who was the guy who went back and watched and, like, found that exact toy and, like, framed it all out. Like, okay, this is what the toy needs to look like to go in here. Because, like, I'm sure it's someone that's, like, super down, like, intern or something. And that guy or girl deserves a lot of credit.
They deserve a raise at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, full time, give them benefits.
A Golden Globe.
Help them out.
Yeah, give them an Emmy for all I care. But
it's an anemone.
It's an anemone. It's anemone. But nevertheless, Kenobi goes on to speak on how his moisture evaporator is broken, and Tika's like, "Oh shit, I got just the thing for you. It's your moisture evaporator." And he's like, "Yo, dude, you could at least clean it before you sell it back to me. For the love of God, help a brother out." And
no, Colton, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. Obi-Wan didn't even mention it, I don't think. I think he was like, "Oh, sounds like something's broken. I got this thing for that. Obi-Wan didn't even mention it. He was just like, oh, sounds like you need a, and Obi-Wan's like, bro.
Sounds like you need this thing that I destroyed of your home. But, the job was like, oh shit. And guess what? If you don't want none of that, I got this shit. Looks like a Jedi landed on Tatooine. Got it from a Jedi starship up in the Dune Sea. Kenobi's like, I think they're extinct, brother. Sorry about that. Sorry about all that. And immediately, kind of off rip, Kenobi's giving off. Hey, and I fuck with the movies. He's giving off TLJ Luke vibes. He's giving off The Last Jedi Luke vibes.
Hey, that's exactly what I was
I was
saying.
gonna wait till later to talk about this when we kind of have some banter and stuff that he has that kind of shows that. But God, he just seems, it's such a different look. And I have something else in mind too to compare it to. But I'll save it for later.
I suppose we'll get there. We'll definitely have more places to talk about this. But later on in that evening, Kenobi is haunted by nightmares. Homie's got PTSD of his former apprentice Anakin.
Rightfully so.
Oh yeah. Padme appears in these visions. Qui-Gon, Yoda, and when he wakes up, he tries to commune with Qui-Gon. As the recap left off, the recap ends. Very important. The recap ends with Yoda going, "I have a way for you to commune with your former master," and that's where the recap ends. And I'm like, oh fuck, buddy. So we're gonna hear Qui-Gon in this show. At the least,
I will actually come if we get real Qui-Gon.
Liam Neeson.
If we get Liam Neeson as a Force ghost,
Well, I don't know actually because
he can't be a Force ghost though.
Yeah.
In the Clone Wars, they say he didn't complete his training, so I don't know if we'll get Force ghost.
But his voice was already heard from Rey, so he is
and with
very
Yoda.
possible.
Whenever Anakin's cutting down the sand people, he's like, Anakin, no! And Yoda hears it. And so we've at least heard from Qui-Gon in the movies. So we know
we know he's a Force.
He's one with the Force at the
spirit.
very least. He's one with the Force.
But he's in there somewhere.
But the following day, Obi-Wan rides his Eopie to a rocky hill, through which we see him watch a little young Luke Skywalker with his Uncle Owen, and they're back at the Lars homestead, and Kenobi's like, tee-hee, I love it. Luke's safe. I'm happy. And
I'm fulfilling my duty.
Yeah. And Owen's like, Luke, and he's run off. He's run. Where'd he go? Well, he's just playing pilot. He's just playing pilot. Beru comes out of the hut, and I'm like, oh my God, Owen and Beru. I love it.
There they are.
And
that's right where they get crisped.
Yeah, same place that they get absolutely burnt.
Isn't that just like so sad that you see some characters? We know Obi-Wan and Vader aren't going to die here because we know where they are in the movies. But like,
no, they're retconning the original trilogy.
Vader dies, and everything after is not relevant.
Yeah.
Actually, if you paid attention to the Last Skywalker, actually the clone, the Obi-Wan we see in the movie is actually a clone, just like Palpatine.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's going to die in the series, and that's why Alec Guinness looks so different from Obi-Wan Kenobi.
They had to get a new actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he died.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's a clone, and he's a shriveled old clone like
Snoke,
like Palpatine.
Yeah, but nevertheless, after this whole thing, we see Kenobi riding away through the desert. We see him looked at from these strange angles, and it is eventually revealed that this is the young man played by one of the Safdie brothers, Nari, a former Jedi himself. He's like, yo, dude, like, you were dope back in the day of the Republic, man. You were like one of the hardest Jedi out, man. Like, teach me your ways, dude. Help me out, dude. And Ben's like, I have zero clue what the fuck you mean by that.
No, that nigga said, sorry, new phone, who this? Sorry, wrong person, wrong number.
My name's
wrong
Ben.
number.
He said the Jedi. I'm sorry, I don't know who this man is.
He said, Obi-Wan Kenobi? Who? My name's Ben.
Yeah, but he's and I love that line from Nari where he's like, "What happened to you? Like you were a legend in the Republic. What happened?" And this is really those first notes where he goes, "Take this lightsaber, go to the middle of the desert, and bury it. That shit's done. The fight is done. We lost. Live a normal life." And
So is this something that you've been you're pointing to as he's sounding like Luke?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I don't love it, but I think this is I guess, when I look back at what I take from the very, last 15 minutes or so of Revenge of the Sith, and all of the stuff that Obi-Wan goes through in those, in real time, what is that to him? Probably an hour?
Dude,
he
went through it.
And so, to see that hurt, that, I'm not going to say that it was wrapped up in Revenge of the Sith just because the movie ended so soon after that. So, you don't really get to see Obi-Wan kind of deal with it or go through that part of his life.
Years.
So, seeing that in this show and how they've done it and how it just is, if it was anybody other than Ewan McGregor, it just doesn't work simply. I can't buy,
Think about this.
I can't picture it on anyone else.
Yoda lost, and he felt responsible for losing the entire war. Dude banished himself to isolation forever until he died, and Luke just happened to show up. Yoda was gone to die. He's done. Obi-Wan is right beneath Yoda. He's right there with him. He lost the war. He feels a failure for Anakin, which is the war. I mean, dude's
down bad.
Yeah,
Homie's
he's
not
down very
feeling
bad.
good.
His nightmares are still this bad after 10 years. Imagine what they were 10 years ago.
Homie didn't
off rip.
sleep. That's what I'm going to tell you. Fresh off. Homie didn't sleep for nights.
Yeah. Like Kyler said, piggyback off you, Kyler. Yeah, no, we're seeing obviously that he hasn't overcome, or if he's fine. You wonder okay, all we had was 3 to 4. Like you said, we're seeing that period in between. Speaking of, hey, opening ideas for a Vader series. Hey, maybe, I don't know, but we're seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi. 10 years. It's about halfway point in between the movies. So yeah, we're seeing that he hasn't overcome that. He hasn't dealt with it. We're seeing the emotional effects on him. Because, we just see him cut off some legs, watch a lady die giving birth. We don't know how he is.
We see, and we'll get to this more later, that there hasn't been a single ounce of development in what he knows about what happened since it happened. It's been 10 years of him from the moment he left to the moment we end here after the first 2 parts. He's known the same amount until the end of that episode. I
think that's just their way of saying that he literally went to Tatooine, got a job instantly, and has been doing this for 10 years straight, nothing else.
Bury your lightsaber, live a normal life.
Yeah.
That's what he said. That's
absolutely.
what he's been doing.
Absolutely. But
sorry, can I?
No,
I
yeah, absolutely.
One more time.
Go for it.
I know it probably wouldn't happen, and I kind of understand why, I guess, but I really wish that there could be a reference to it's Sabine, right? Satine, sorry. It could in his nightmares you couldn't get a voice, just the voice or something, because that's not that far out of this picture either from the other events.
Hey, and I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for the confirmation that the reason he calls himself Ben is because Satine called him Ben. And whenever that gets confirmed,
why'd you choose the name
tears.
Ben?
Tears.
Someone's gonna ask him, why'd you choose the name Ben? Oh, just an old friend, or something. It's just gonna be a little oh, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, when my girl was seducing me, she called me Ben, kind of turned me on.
She called me Ben, and I was like, that ain't my name, but I kind of fuck with it though.
Ben, Daddy, same name.
That shit had him melting. He was melting.
Tillman.
Call me Ben, Daddy.
I know. She called him Ben because she would just go, bend me over, Daddy.
Ben,
and then it just got shortened to Ben.
Exactly.
I'm gonna let that through because I'm a little.
Ladies and gentlemen,
faded.
just so you all know, Ben Kenobi is short for Bend Me Over Kenobi. This just is factual.
This just in. But after Obi-Wan Kenobi talks to Nari for a little bit, we cut to what is our first extended view of Alderaan. Oh, buddy. This part hit me harder than any part in the show, and more so a little bit from now. But I felt like a damn fool when I got all teary-eyed watching little Leia get dressed, and then they were like,
"Get bamboozled, bitch! You thought it was child Leia? No. And then for a second, you're like, wait, we're not getting child Leia?
Yeah, but
and then you're like,
They dressed her all up, and we see Queen Breyo Organa enter the room, and she's like, all right, we're going to be late. Come on. How are we doing? And, the little servant turns around and is like, she said you'd be amused. And I was like, that's so Leia. I love it. All right, let's get
Honestly,
to it.
hey, shout out to the people dressing her, too, who knew it wasn't Leia. They were just like, we just going to shut up.
Hey, they were down to ride. And this was giving me Padme's handmaiden vibes. And in The Phantom Menace,
I'm not going to lie in this scene. For a hot second, whenever they showed her hands, I was like, "Damn, she got some fugly ass hands."
I ain't even noticed, bruh. I didn't even see. But
well, because that's how she noticed at first that it wasn't her, because she showed her hands and they had lines all over them. Yeah. She's an alien.
She was like,
and she's like,
me?
"The fuck is this?"
But nevertheless, Bray is like, "All right, so she's probably either here in the kitchen, the cellar." Goddamn, she's in the woods, isn't she? She's in the woods.
This bitch is in the woods.
It was at that moment that it just clicked, because we've seen Leia in the woods when she was doing her training and stuff, and it just hit me so hard because you could tell it's just something she's carried with her forever.
Man, it made me.
I guess the
synchronicity.
Something in there's a word, but that with Leia's story just going, and we've seen her in younger forms in a couple past movies and shows and stuff, but nothing real substantial. So it's just awesome that we're getting that right here, and then just like I said, how they're weaving the same story. It all feels right.
Ooh, it's like poetry. It rhymes. But
I love that they found a young actor that can actually do justice to how that attitude, and just because that's easy to mess up. I mean, I know people didn't really like some of the, I know, what is it?
The chase scene.
Aaron Reich or Iron Reich.
Alden Aaron Reich, yeah.
Yeah. People didn't love him as Solo, and, I know that was somewhat of a perception. And so, I'm not saying they got it wrong, but obviously, it's hard to please everyone with, how.
And there's some people who have decided whatever Disney Star Wars does, I'm not going to like it. There are people who've already decided that.
No, I hate this show.
Oh, yeah. There are people who saw Vivian Blair as Leia and went, no. And I, for the fucking life of me, hate you. No, I don't. Everyone has their opinion, but for real, fuck off.
No.
You're getting an instant block on Twitter at the very least if you're hating.
Rightfully so. We hate them. I saw a bunch of stuff complaining about all the scenes where she was a smart ass little piece of shit child.
Leia?
And
smart ass as a 10-year-old?
And it was why bitching about it, and then all the responses were just you're talking about Padme, cool, whatever. Talking about Anakin's child.
You're talking about Padme's child too.
Well, Padme's child. No, I'm but Padme at least had the. No, but Padme had the whole decorum, and she was a princess and blah blah blah. Anakin was a piece of shit. Anakin was a dick.
Padme was a rebel too, though. She didn't listen to anybody. They were like, "But you're the queen, you can't." She's like, "Shut the fuck up, I'm gonna do what I."
Hey, and we haven't even gotten to the first scene with Leia, so I'm gonna start hopping into it. So we see Leia. She's running around low woods. And we see her, and she climbs up in a tree, up with her little droid companion Lola, and she counts a bunch of stars.
R.I.P. in peace, my man.
Hey, Lola's gonna be fine. Don't you say that about my dude Lola.
She can take it.
Lola gonna be okay. Lola's gonna be all right.
It's a machine, bro.
But nevertheless, she counts out a freighter, a pleasure barge, a casino ship, and she also spots a tri-wing. And she's like, that must be an Aquilian Ranger. They must be scouting for mercenary pirates. And I was like, God damn, Leia, you're just already keen of mind. I love you. You're my favorite character in all of Star Wars. But Bria, she finds her daughter. She's like, get on down from there. Come on now. And she tells Leia, you got to shut down your droid. And Leia's like, okay, fine. And Bria tells her that if she behaves as well as she climbed, she'd be a senator already. And, Bria goes on to tell her that she would have to change in the speeder. And Leia's like, I don't want to. All I do was fucking wave. No one there would even miss me, dude. And Bria's like, maybe so, but you're going to be doing more than waving, I promise. And Leia, she's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I'm the way that I am. Give me huggies. I love you, Mom. Come on in, bring it in for the real thing. And she gives her a hug and she's like, psych, bitch, I got Lola back. What's up? And Bria lets her keep it. She's like, fine, whatever. But unknown to our pals here, Bria and Leia, they're being watched by good old Red Hot Chili Peppers Flea. And but after that, we cut back to Tatooine, and Kenobi is taking some more dragon meat, taking some more meat, if you will. And he rides back into Anchorhead, and he heads to the stable for his Eopie, and he's then confronted by Owen Lars, who goes ahead and throws down the toy that Ben had dropped off the night before at his feet. And he's like, just stay the fuck away from me, bro. I ain't trying to fuck with that. And,
why were those mercenaries looking for her before the third sister gave the order to go?
We never really saw that though.
No, I think she probably gave the order a while ago.
Yeah,
I found out.
You think?
Yeah,
She was like, no, I thought it was after this. After this, she goes and meets with the other, brother, and then she's like, is really motivated, and then she goes for it. She's like, now I'm going for it or whatever. I felt like I don't think she was as determined.
No, she's
this
been
planned the whole
clearly,
time.
Oh yeah,
this planned the whole
motivated
time
for a minute.
Well,
yeah.
no, it didn't. It could have been planned the whole time, but it also didn't have to be planned the whole time. As soon as they were like, "Get Kenobi out of your head," she could have went and was like, "No, I'm gonna go hire this person before the scene."
Well,
it has to be sometime. It has to be sometime before the scene that we see Leia. And
I also feel like it probably just behooves her naturally, just because they're going to Tatooine. They end up there in 2 minutes after we see what Colton was just talking about. So they were obviously going to be on Tatooine. So she's got something else in the works in the background. She's like, well, we either catch him on Tatooine or we flush him out of here.
She doesn't know he's on Tatooine.
Yeah, they don't even know he's on Tatooine also.
Yeah, she just knows that Leia will bring him out.
Yeah, she knows about Leia, and she's very clearly motivated to catch Obi-Wan. So she's just hoping, if I get Leia, she didn't think the Grand Inquisitor knew that she was still after Obi-Wan. It was only whenever they got in the argument, whenever he was like, hey, forget about Obi-Wan. She was like, hey, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and let's talk about the extent, just real quick. Just want to comment on the extensive research that she did. She'll mention it. Let me Colton to stop me if we're going to talk about it later. But when she was like, I found out that he has a connection to her father from the Clone Wars. And I'm like, bro.
From the Jedi archives, it's kind of like a detail that I didn't kind of think about. It's like they have access to the Jedi Temple. Yeah. Obviously, they took it over.
And also, clearly, she knows, because she taunts him with it later, she knows Anakin is Darth Vader.
So I'm over here
yeah, but she doesn't know Leia is Anakin's daughter.
Okay, but
you think she doesn't know that it's Anakin's daughter?
She has no idea about that.
No,
she knows Leia is Bail's daughter. Yeah. And it's like, that's enough.
No, she said he fought with he fought with her father in the war.
Hey,
and everyone knows
Leia in
Leia's
A New
adopted.
Hope. Leia in A New Hope goes, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars at the time thinking Bail was her father. So that's enough
she knows.
for me.
No, she knows she's adopted.
She doesn't know Anakin's her dad.
But she doesn't know Anakin's her dad. Well, okay, yeah. So she knows Reva knows, she doesn't know that Leia is Anakin's daughter. She knows that Leia is someone that Obi-Wan knows, though. She knows that she's someone's daughter.
Fair.
Because
I took that as Bail Organa is someone who helped the Jedi in Order 66. We know that. He's a senator, so we can't touch him. Yeah. But we can get his daughter. And that's
I think that they know because Leia says I'm not an Organa whenever they have that argument later on.
Yeah, the cousin.
And Bail tells Obi-Wan we can't use the Senate because then other people would start to dig in a little bit more as to where Leia came from. So I
have no doubt that Leia knows she's adopted.
Well, no, I'm saying Leia knows she's adopted. Other people know she's adopted too. They're just trying to keep it as quiet as possible, so no one really digs in to try and figure out.
Gotcha.
Who she's from.
I have no beef with this. The thing that we're fundamentally on opposite sides of is that I think they're referring to Bail Organa as the person Obi-Wan fought alongside. That's what I think.
Bail never fought, though. He never fought alongside Obi-Wan. They just discussed at a table.
I don't give a fuck. He smuggles Yoda out. That might as well be fighting. That's a punishable by death offense. He might as well have been fighting.
This is the conflict I was so excited to have. 5 people, the chaos. We've got fucking Buzz Colton. This is fucking great. Let's fucking tussle. Let's fucking go.
I'm not buzzed. I am drunk.
All right,
Other part of that
summer
equation.
fight night with the bitches 5. It's gonna happen.
But we might see Colton. They might, but if in a future episode, if she goes, I know that Anakin is the father of we knew if a shit.
I don't think that's the case because if she knew that she was Anakin's daughter, I think Anakin clearly still has that connection. She would, if she came to Anakin and said, "Your daughter's alive. I know where your daughter's at." She would have all the fucking power in the world from Vader.
Nah, Vader be like, "Fuck them kids." He want Obi-Wan.
No, because as soon as he figures out Luke's his son, he blows his fucking nut.
Nevertheless, regardless, fuck this conflict. I love you guys. We're back on Tatooine, and Kenobi's, after Owen throws that shit on the ground, is like, I don't want to fucking see you anymore. Kenobi's like, it's a fucking toy, dude. Chill the fuck out. And Owen says, no, it's more than that. You know that. And Kenobi's like, there's more to life than your fucking farm, dude. Chill the fuck out. And there's a wider galaxy out there. And Owen's like, shut the fuck up, leave me alone. And I love that Obi-Wan's like, the boy, when the time comes, the boy must be trained. He must be trained. He goes full Alec Guinness impression with that voice.
What, like you trained his father? Has no problem roasting others, but couldn't protect himself from getting roasted in real life, like a barbecue chip.
Nah, the biggest roast came at the end of Revenge of the Sith. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was Anakin.
This is second.
Literally got burnt.
I guess the third best, given what we talked about earlier with Peru and so.
True.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, he's like, when the time comes, the boy must be trained. And Owen's like, nah, leave me the fuck alone. And he's like, is he okay? Owen's like, nah, you're just interested in him being all force sensitive and shit. And, I'm his uncle. Leave him alone. And he's unwilling to make the same mistake twice. He let Anakin die. And I appreciate the building we're doing. I appreciate the building we're doing on Owen's character, man, because he's appearing less like he is an asshole. He's an asshole, but he's an asshole with a very, very good reason.
He's an asshole with a very strong sense of morals.
Yeah, well, here's what I would compare it to. It's almost like the Vernon, what is it, Dudley? Dursley? Dursley. Harry Potter. What is it?
Yeah, Dursley.
Oh,
Dursley
okay. I was going to
Douglas.
say, I
It's
have
almost
no
like that. It's almost like that in my head, but like he's going about it in such a more genuine way. Like he's not actually reflecting it on Luke at all, but he is like going out of his way to protect Luke. And
yeah,
it's ultimately like I've seen what this has done and corrupted, how this has corrupted people. Like I don't want him near it. Like I can't trust
100%. You know, he's very adamant in his protection of the boy because, you know, like, regardless of whether or not he wanted it, you know, Obi-Wan kind of thrust him into this position and was like, you're going to be the father to this child now.
True.
I'm going to hang out around here. Deuces.
Bro, kind of boosy though, honestly. Like,
oh, 100%. Can you imagine that, like, a dude you don't even fucking know pulled up and was like, hey, so, your stepbrother had a kid and now I need you to watch him?
Bro. See, but not even that part, bro. I'm as boosty on both ends, but I find it boosty on the other end. The fact that he was like, you know, yeah, okay, I'll watch this kid. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna chill around, eat some chips, watch you from the mountain every now and then. Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, bro, thanks for the kid. And then he's gonna just later on, 10 years down the line, he's just like, yeah, this is all your fault. And
dude, you ruined my life.
You ruined my life. I'm like, bro, I trusted you with that information that his dad turned.
Any chance at class mobility I had, any chance I had, gone as soon as you handed me a kid. I'm done. Now I'm just a farmer. So fuck you, Kenobi. Kobe. No, rest in peace. But nevertheless, just when he decides to walk away here, the Inquisitors pull up, and the fifth brother is like, hey, there's a Jedi fugitive here. All we need to know is where he is. Tell us. And he's like, I promise there'll be a reward. And the third sister's like, yeah, we're going to kill you. But only after we cut off your hand.
I'm really kidding. I'm sold now. Like, I'm stepping up to the plate.
I'm like, excuse me, ma'am.
Is death the reward?
It might as well be.
Sign me up.
I'm in.
It's summer. We're not at that time right now. Come on, Miles.
Nevertheless, you know, the fifth brother's like, hey, shut the fuck up, Reva. That's not at all what we're saying. Go ahead, be nice. Be nice. And their sister's like, nah, you know, the Outer Rim has no rights. And
wrong for her to open her mouth there. Yeah,
I can do whatever the fuck I want to you.
Oh, dude, and the woman's like, hey, we got rights. Shut the fuck up. And she's like, I will cut your hand off. How would you like that? And then she did.
Yeah, she did that.
And then she's like,
if she reaches for anything, she'll think of her.
Hey, and you know, she's looking for some information about a Jedi, and she's like, you, Mr. Lars.
You wouldn't happen to have a Jedi at home, would you?
You got a Jedi back at your place? And Owen's like, I literally fucking hate them. I hate them. And he's like, they're vermin. And he says that, you know, I kill rodents on my farm. And Raven's like, you love your family. You think you can protect them from me? And I was
ashamed
like, okay,
if I killed them all.
I fuck with Reva. And it started here.
Bro, but when did he ever say that? But when did he ever say that, though? That's my first. She's always trying to just start some shit. I mean, like, he didn't even instigate that at all. He was just like, fuck the Jedi, bro. Yeah. I'll protect them from the Jedi.
It wasn't instigation. It was a, I have a family. And she goes, oh, you have a family? I'm going to kill them.
I'll fucking murder him right here, right now.
I'll murder every single one of them in front of you if you don't tell me where your Jedi's at.
Not just this man dies. No, his family dies too. Like, she's just pure evil. Like, she's
like, it's not even specifically you that I think might know something about this. She turns, she goes, if one of you doesn't tell me where the Jedi might be, I'm gonna kill this guy, and I'm gonna kill his family. It might not have anything to do with him. Nevertheless, I will murder them. And the crowd watches on, is like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. And she's like, the Jedi are cowards. Kenobi's like, peeking out from behind a fucking rock, like, ooh, yeah, she's speaking facts right now. But the third sister's like, the Jedi have failed you. They have abandoned you. And she says, you know, there's no point in protecting them. They would not do the same for you. And she's like, go ahead, tell me. Before it can escalate, the fifth brother's like, all right, Here's a picture of the Jedi we're looking for. It's the Safdie brother. It's Nari, and he's like, "You'll be rewarded if you cooperate." Reva, come over here, fuck. And she complies. She walks over, and he's like, "You need to stop. You're gonna die."
Okay, the way she talks about how the Jedi betrayed her, right? Like, if she was a Jedi and we saw her at the beginning and she escaped Order 66, she was a Jedi at one point. Like, she wouldn't have thought that the Jedi betrayed her just because of Order 66, because she would have thought like her whole family was slaughtered. But why I think her fixation with Kenobi is so strong is not just because she wants to deliver him to Vader. It's because she did the same thing that Nari did, went up to Kenobi right after Order 66 and was like, "Help me, I need help." And then Kenobi turned her down, was like, "No, I'm not doing this anymore." And turned her down. And then she's like, "Wow, you betrayed me. You're against everything I thought you were." So now she's fixated on him, and it's like, I have, like, she wants him for herself.
Are you talking
not
about
to deliver?
Are you talking about Kenobi specifically or another Jedi?
Kenobi,
Because he's been on
She
Tatooine
wants-
since.
Okay, or I guess it could be any.
Yeah,
Jedi.
I was like, he's been on
I
Tatooine
guess any.
since, so she would have known.
But
there.
it would be sweeter if it was Kenobi in specific, and that's why she has such like.
I think it would make sense if Reva saw Anakin. Like, saw Anakin cutting down Jedi.
That's the only reason that she knows Anakin is Darth Vader. Darth Vader kills anyone who knows that information.
But beyond that, because she knows who trained Anakin, she's like,
Yeah, maybe she blames
"Hey man, you
Obi-Wan
fucked
for
my life."
Yeah, it would seem weird. Yeah, something definitely had to have happened though, because just like, I got Order 66 as a youngling, I'd be like, yeah, it fucked up your life, but like, you can't be mad at the Jedi for Order 66.
Right.
There were literally, like, if she was the youngling from the like opening scene, she was one of them. They literally died protecting.
Okay.
There's also the fact, however, that Vader and the Empire tortures the Inquisitors into
That's fair.
being a part of them. So there's also this incessant need that we see in Episode 2 to please him. Is kind of what bleeds through. Is like he's going to be so fucking happy when I'm the one who brings him to you. You think I was going to let you take the credit? He's going to be so happy when I do it. You know, so there's this thing that she has to please Vader somehow.
But like you said, there has to be some type of backstory, especially because they sit there and taunt her, and the Grand Inquisitor's like, when we found you, you were in the gutter. Like, you were just a loser. You were a bum. Like, there has to be some type of, almost Miles, there has to be something that happened. It could like with Asajj Ventress, like, her master was killed right in front of her as a Jedi Padawan. She turns into a Sith assassin off of some traumatic event that something happened. So yeah, maybe there is some backstory Reva that we'll see later on too, where we have some type of flashback from her to try to also win that approval.
But also thinking about it though, that's not necessarily true, because they, like, if you think about Fallen Order, whatever, I can't remember which sister it was. Second sister? Yeah. The second sister fucking hated the Jedi. And like, the worst thing that happened was they all got caught.
Yeah. And
her master
turned her over.
Well, she didn't really turn her over
against her will, like
her.
But nevertheless, she did. So like,
she did. But then they like Vader and the Sith Inquisitors manipulated that to make her, go a little crazy because of it. So that it very well could just be, the Jedi didn't protect me on Order 66.
I like that idea.
I like that, like, twist the knife.
Who else do you blame other than Yoda and Obi-Wan?
Yeah, for not
like, there's no one else to blame,
no one else left. Yeah.
So like, literally, and you blame the most immediate
Yoda's
connection
dead.
to Anakin. Yeah, like
the only significant, Jedi that they know is still out there that they don't think just kind of crumpled into a ball of dust is Obi-Wan.
True, but never, like, speaking to that in this very scene after the fifth brother is removed, the third sister, Obi-Wan walks up to Owen and is like, "Thank you very, very much for that. That is much appreciated. I maybe I didn't deserve it. I don't know. I kind of in a rough place personally. If we could talk about it sometime, that'd be awesome. I really need help.
Maybe I could come over, train your son in the ways of the Force.
And he's like, I didn't do it for you. You know, he's still protecting Luke, and I love that. You know, like that's such a great detail to add to Owen's story. Just like, and we knew he was protecting him, but like so avidly to be like, do what Ben Kenobi's doing, but to Ben, like whenever he talks to Nari in a second, is like, I can't help you, man. Like the Jedi are done. Or when he did talk to Nari, it's like, I can't help you, man. The Jedi are done. Like he's doing it to Ben, and it's like, yeah, man, I can't help you. I got to protect my son. I love that. I absolutely love that. But next up, we're back at Alderaan, and the blue and white shuttle pulls up, and Senator Bail Organa is joined by his wife Bria and Leia, and they're like, "Hey, Leia, how'd your day go?" And she's like, "I saw a trading ship and an Aquilian Rager," and you know, Bail's like, "Oh, it must have been some merchant pirates, huh?" And she's like, "That's what I said." And Bria's like, "Don't encourage her." And the relatives disembark from the ship after Bail's like, I guess we got to do this now. And I love Bail being like, "Fuck the in-laws."
Fuck.
I love Bail being like, "Fuck, we got the in-laws pulling up. That sucks." I think that's hilarious. And
dude, I saw something on Twitter that was like, I hate that Alderaan, was exploded and all, but like the fact that the cousin could have been on Alderaan during that time and is now dead is like a dub.
Makes those probably billions of dead people all worth it.
But nevertheless, Aunt Sally, Uncle Kaio, and cousin Niano all pull up, and at some sort of party. Her Leia's uncle is like, the Empire's lining some pockets. I'm kind of fucking with this shit. And Bill's like, yeah, but there's still a lot of work to be done. I mean, slavery and the taxation of the Outer Rim, and the uncle's like, whoa, slow your roll, man. I kind of fuck with all of that. I'm not here to end slavery. Save that bleeding heart for the Senate, Bale. And Bale's like, fuck you, on the inside.
You said not my problem.
Yeah, he really did. And
whoa, calm down. I'm not here to make life better for people.
And
I'm here to drink.
And I took that personal.
I don't know what you're here to do. But I'm here to get drunk, Bale.
I'm here to get fat and happy, and nearby.
Man, something we can all aspire to, man.
Not me. I take that. I took what he said personal.
Hey. But nearby, C-3PO is translating for some other guests.
No, you didn't disrespect C-3PO like that. There's no way that was C-3PO.
Yeah, it was.
There's no way.
Yeah, it was.
It did not sound.
That was
did not sound.
The one that was translating. That was 1,000%.
We didn't see him really talk. I don't know if we heard him necessarily, but it was absolutely 3PO.
It spoke and did not sound like 3PO.
He's in the care of the Organas right now. Why would
There was two. There was the silver one that you're thinking of.
There was a gold one.
Oh, there was another one called YO here in a second.
Okay.
Who we did hear talk. And
3PO was back there, though.
3PO was there. And, YO, the other protocol droid, serves Leia and the other children some drinks. And Leia's like, thank you. And
I just pulled up the scene. 1,000% C-3PO.
Oh, 100.
He's translating it into another language, and I can hear that, and they're like, and it sounds exactly like it.
Oh my! But nevertheless, Niano's like, you thank your droids? That's a lower life form. You ain't got to thank them. And Leia's like, oh, I guess I don't have to use manners when I'm talking to you, bitch. And I was like, I love Leia. I'm in love. This is one of my favorite characters of all time.
Leia would never act like this, Colton.
Shut the fuck up, Miles.
I'm here to confirm that C-3PO was in the background, indeed.
Yes, we were all aware.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tillman.
In the background.
Here's a little passage from the most recent Padme Amidala based book, Star Wars: A Queen's Hope. It says, Padme asks, "I don't suppose you know anything about dressmaking," in the direction of R2-D2. He turns his dome back and forth, mimicking a human shaking their head. And Padme goes, "Thank you." And there was no reason to be rude. And I was like, I read this immediately after watching the episode, because I watched it and I was like, oh my God, I need to read something Star Wars. And I read that. That was one of the first things I read, and I was like, oh, I love it. I love this small little, just a parallel between being nice to droids between Padme and Leia. And it was so wonderful.
It stretches so further, though. I mean, you get Rey with so many meaningful scenes with droids too. I mean, it's
Anakin with R2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just so much there.
Ahsoka.
100%.
Well, it's almost. Good old Toto.
Fuck Toto. I don't want to hear about it.
I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about it earlier whenever we were talking about the little.
Toto is the only droid it is okay to treat like shit.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh,
If you, hey, I just want to be for real for a second. If any of you happen upon Toto in real life, kill that motherfucker.
I don't know why I thought you were talking Wizard of Oz, bro.
Yeah, Seth Green.
Oh no. We're talking about the little droid, droid companion
from Bad Batch.
Fuck this dude. His full name is even long. He's stupid.
That's Benjamin Gesell Green. You deserve to have your NFT stolen.
Okay, time out. So, I saw something that said that there were so many people on the set of Mandalorian that could not stand Grogu that they would literally beat the shit out of this thing, and the only way Favreau could get them to stop was by telling him it was 5 million. And I just want to say that if in Book of Boba and we saw Cad Bane, if Toto would have been there, I would have traveled across the fucking globe to find that animatronic Toto or fucking puppet Toto and literally spit, shit, and stomp on that motherfucker.
Spit, shit, and cum all over it.
I can't begin to tell you the things I do to that motherfucker.
I don't know if I like the way that sounds.
I'd kill him.
What was the name of the little droid that Leia had?
Lola.
Lola.
Oh
yeah, Lola. Whenever we were talking about Lola dying, I almost said because I said R.I.P. Lola. Toto lives forever.
Fuck Toto.
All right,
but
Toto is alive out there right now somewhere.
Nevertheless,
Shut
I've
the
heard.
Fuck up, Miles. Yeah. Nevertheless, Niano's like, hey, you know what? You know what's different about me and you? I heard that they never let you leave Alderaan. You know what I heard? You're not a real Organa. And Leia's like, oh, so you're scared of your daddy? and Niano's like, I want my. And she's like, since you want your father to like you, maybe you repeat what he says, even though you don't know what the fuck it means, you little dumbass bitch. And
you think she used a little force?
Hey, Joseph, I'm with you,
Joseph.
She had maybe used some force abilities and read the dude's mind and just spat it all in his face. Maybe not, but maybe.
Hey, and if so, it sounds a little reminiscent of The Force Awakens when Rey's looking down at Kylo and goes, "Oh, you're scared.
They
can read never be as powerful as Darth Vader." And it's like, ooh, okay, I like what I'm hearing.
Let's not talk about Rey, bro. I can't, bro.
All right, Tillman, I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up. But, nevertheless, she says, even though you don't know much about me and I don't know much about you, you a fuckboy, you ain't got no powers. Bail and Bria take notice of their adoptive daughter, being like, oh, she kind of getting after him over there. And later, Leia's like, he was being a dick to everybody. He deserved that shit. And Bria's like, that's your cousin. You need to rise above that situation. When they go low, we go high. All Michelle Obama in this bitch. And
she said, fuck you, Mom. I'm gonna treat him like the piece of shit that he is.
Leia said, I would rather die. And I'd rather be devoured by a Jacko beast. And after Bria leaves, Bail goes next to her. And I love My God, getting a Bail and Leia scene in live action. Oh my God, it was everything I've ever fucking wanted, There was once a time where I wanted to live past Cathu when I was your age, chasing
What a
Purrgil.
dad. What a
and
dad.
hunting and chasing Purrgil. I don't know if you remember Purrgil, but that's what sends Ezra and Thrawn into deep space in Rebels.
Whoa!
And he says when he got older, I had other adventures, and I had to chase your mom. And I was like, nice joke, Bail. Your mom. But Bail goes on to tell her that, her future is in politics, beginning with university and then junior Senate. And Leia's like, Senate's boring. I don't want to be a senator. And Bill's like, but that's exactly why you'll be one of the best.
And I love that because Padme was so great at it, and she was always getting into some fuck shit. I mean, just nonstop.
Oh, and beyond that, in the books, and Padme's trilogy of books, The Queen's Peril, Queen's Shadow, and Queen's Hope, there's a part of the books where she's the queen who succeeds her after she is Queen Amidala goes, hey, I know you were really busy just now. You were the queen and shit. Would you please be our senator? Please be our senator. You are the shit. And she's really hesitant, She's like, I don't want to be a senator. Like, that's not what I really want. I just love seeing all of these parallels between Padme and Leia. It's making me really, really happy. And, we see them both become really kick-ass senators. But, Leia goes on to say, I'm not even a real Organa. And I love Bail here. He's like, hey, man, don't you listen to that bullshit. You are my child. You are Bria's child. You are an Organa in every way. And he says, many will look for her leadership and asks her to imagine looking down at her cousin's face when she gets to boss him around. And I was like,
imagine looking down on the planet as you see him blow the fuck up. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like, she shed a tear whenever she watched Alderaan explode. But she also was probably a little happy.
It's like just a little bit,
like deep down.
Liano was down there. I know that motherfucker's dead. That's kind of cool.
She was devastated for it for weeks, months, forever, and then she was like, "I got to deal with this." And she found that one glimmering light. That one glimmering light. She's
man,
like, "Oh, damn."
All my relatives are dead. Oh fuck, that means my cousin's dead too. All right, you know what? I'm cool with it.
Dubs. That's a win.
We only take dubs around here, baby.
Only dubs only. But nevertheless, Bail's like, you will boss him around one day, but for now you need to apologize. And they head downstairs together. And instead of apologizing, or not together, Leia heads down alone. And instead of apologizing, she heads into the forest. And realizing Leia has not rejoined them, Bail and Bria send a unit after her. And in the forest, Leia encounters a man named Vect Nokru, played by Red Hot Chili Peppers' Flea. And she's like, who are you? And he's like, oh, I've been waiting. She's like, for what? He says, for you. And then they go ahead and on a little chase throughout these here woods. And she kind of outpaces them for a little bit miraculously. And, before long, a guard comes out to help her. That guy gets whacked. They catch up to her. They put a sack over her head, and that's that. They've got Leia in their grasp. Back on Tatooine, Obi-Wan receives a distress call from Bail and Bria, and they're like, hey, we don't know who they are. We don't have any leads, but they've got Leia. They were lying in wait. They knew exactly where she would be. They knew exactly what she'd be doing. So they've been preparing for this. We need your help. We can't trust anyone else. No one knows her importance the way you do. And that comment comes after Kenobi's like, can you ask the Imperial Senate, a bounty hunter, anybody else but me, man? I'm chilling on Tatooine. And Bill's like, that's too much attention. We cannot have that. We can't have that. And Bale's like, hey, after Kenobi goes, my responsibilities to the boy, Bale's like, hey, she is every bit as important. And I loved that line. She's every bit as important as he is.
Well, and I think it just shows I mean, the foresight for Bail, I guess, to see, like, and understand that in terms of, like, I don't know, I guess Luke's pretty important in the long term, but I feel like Leia has arguably more impact. She's just, like, like, I guess at least in terms of how much she is tasked with doing in the movies. It's just, like, it's so nice to see Bail fighting for her, even at this age. Like, you do understand, like, what she's going to mean to an entire galaxy.
Luke really got the short end of the stick, though, huh? Like, one kid got, like, royalty in everything she'd ever want, pretty much. And then the other got a desert planet.
One thing I love.
Luke gets two sons. Luke gets two sons.
Fair. That evens it out. That evens it out.
One thing I love, there's a little contrast between Luke and Leia in this episode and their upbringing, since we're mentioning it now, where when Leia steals Lola back from Bria, she gets to keep it. She gets to hold on to it. That is hers now. Before Luke even gets a chance to see it, Owen takes the gift and destroys it. Just a little contrast like that between their upbringings,
but then the similarities of Luke playing pilot and Leia going out in the woods,
There you go.
I think that's
all
all
sorts of
like
things here.
Kyler, you had said like how much more important Leia. Like Luke obviously does a lot, but Leia, is much more fundamental in like the rebellion and all that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Is like she's in charge of so much more.
They don't really know like at this point that's going to happen. They don't know that eventually the resistance and the rebellion is going to come back into full swing and that Leia is going to take such a big role. And Obi-Wan has seen firsthand from little Luke sitting on the edge of their little house playing pilot. He sees the inklings of Anakin already he's clearly force sensitive. And in that he wants to, if he can train Luke can then train others, and eventually the Jedi Order can come back.
Well, and I think at this point in the story too, I think at this point in the story,
he must be trained.
I think at this point in the story where we're at with Kenobi and just how he's feeling about things, you can see how badly and desperately he wants redemption for what happened to Anakin.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's why he's gravitating so hard towards Luke at this young age, is because he just, like you said, the potential of what he could be as a Jedi. Obi-Wan is dying for that chance to redeem himself.
Yeah.
He's had nightmares. He's haunted by what's happened with Anakin and how he feels responsible, I guess.
Miles,
which is why I was saying that he was saying Luke is the more important child, because to him Luke is the more important child.
Yes, I like it.
Because he doesn't see the background work that needs to be laid for a rebellion to come about. He's just looking for redemption and the Jedi Order, not for the freedom of the galaxy.
Yeah, and I like your inferences and your guesses on what Obi-Wan is thinking, Miles. Not factual statements, just guesses. But no,
factual statements. I know all.
No, I was gonna say
No,
parallels too is when they were just talking about also the fact that Obi-Wan when he told Owen, he said he needs to know that there's a whole galaxy out there. There's a whole world out there besides, just here on Tatooine. Same thing with Leia. She's never get allowed to be, let off the planet. So she's like, I never get to go anywhere. I never get to see anything. That's why she gets every single little detail of every little cruiser or spaceship that comes through there. It's the parallels of them not being exposed or whatnot. But I also think it's interesting.
So,
go ahead, Kylie.
Oh, I was just going to say, you bring up something super interesting saying it, and kind of like, think about how, I guess, it's surprising that Obi-Wan would be like, oh, there's a whole galaxy out there for Luke, when given that, like, Anakin arguably had that same sheltered lifestyle, never really left Tatooine. When Obi-Wan is largely exposing Anakin to all of this whole galaxy he speaks of, think about, like, how all of that factors into what led to what happened. Like, you'd think he'd be so scarred from that and be like, yeah, keep him here, shelter him. But like, it's kind of interesting to see how eager, like, at this point he is, like I said, for that redemption. Like, I just feel like he wants the second chance to get it right so bad.
Which is also funny because, we see the side of Obi-Wan who's telling Nari, put your lightsaber in a desert and bury it and go live a normal life. We're done. There's nothing to do here. But then he's over here telling Owen, the boy must be trained. Which one is it, Obi-Wan? The conflict, the being torn apart.
Well, he knows he can't start a rebellion. Yeah, you can't start a rebellion
Nari-
without the son of Anakin.
Well, he knows Nari ain't gonna do shit in the grand scheme of things. He's a little bitch.
It's fair to assume that the son of Anakin is going to
He
do
wants
pretty well.
the son of Anakin because if he can train a new generation, then they can, rebuild the Jedi Order. Whereas Nari's not going to do shit. He was probably a youngling whenever the Jedi Order fell, so he probably wasn't even a full Jedi Knight.
Yeah, but still,
he clearly got his shit pushed in.
Yeah.
Whenever push came to shove.
Yeah, but still, based off of what Obi-Wan is saying, I mean, he wants to train Luke, but even he tells Bail Organa, I'm not the guy who I used to be. I was like, so can you train him to be a Jedi? Can you still? Because we're going to see later on, we're going to talk about, the parallels with Luke from The Last Jedi. We're going to talk about that later on in the second episode. But yeah, nevertheless, Colton.
Nevertheless, that's where we're picking up. I love that interaction between Kenobi where he ultimately goes, I'm not the same guy I was 10 years ago. You're gonna have to find someone else, and we leave it there for now. And later, Kenobi is continuing his work with the meats at Arby's, and he travels by hover train over to Anchorhead, and the Inquisitors have killed Nari, as we were just talking shit about how he wasn't going to do anything, and they've hung his body as a warning to everybody. And Kenobi is deeply saddened by this and returns to his cave, and his little droid buzzes, telling him, there's someone here. Kenobi cautiously enters, and he finds Bail Organa inside. And he says, Leia is headed to Daiyu. And Kenobi tells Bail, you shouldn't have come here, man. And Bail's like, the kidnappers hid their signature behind a freight transport, and the ship is on its way to Daiyu. And Kenobi is like, I really don't want to do this, and Bail says that, Leia is my daughter. And Kenobi's like, I'm not the man I used to be. I'm not going to do this shit. I like I said, Bail's like, hey, this ain't about him. I understand all of the mistakes that you've made in the past, all the mistakes that have been made, but I promise you can save her. You can't save Anakin. You can save her. And Kenobi's like, I don't know, man. And he's like, hey, I trust you more with this child than anyone else in the galaxy. He begs of him, do it for her as one last fight. And back on the ship, the kidnapper ship, Leia activates her little Lola and gets the hover droid to untie her. But just then, that fucking Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers enters the room, and Leia states, I'm not afraid of you. He's like, all right, give it some time. All right. And he grabs Lola, tosses her on the ground, crushes her, and Leia's like, hey, my dad's going to send a fucking army after your ass, okay? You're
my
done.
Dad's going to be your dad. He's going to beat you up.
Hey, my dad's a lawyer. He's going to sue
exactly.
you.
That's what I was going to say.
And Flea is like, all right, I'm going to go. And back on Tatooine, Kenobi dismounts from his Eopie and starts digging in the middle of the desert. And we find that he's got a couple lightsabers in the box.
Indeed, he has 2 sticks in the box.
Okay.
I just want to backtrack one quick second. I just love that Leia has that much confidence in Bail after that heart-to-heart they had. Like, just that relationship and the trust she has in him. It's so nice because, like, I guess we haven't seen Luke with Beru or Owen at all, but like, I'd be shocked if we got that deep and touching of a like moment between those two.
Sorry, adjusting.
How y'all feeling or not?
But no, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. I think it'll be interesting to see the parallels between how they respond to the parents' advice. I generally don't expect it to be. I expect Luke to be a bit more. Okay, I guess. All right, fine. And I expect Leia to be like, no. It's hilarious that you thought I'd even do that. But back, we see we cut back to Flea of Red Hot Chili Peppers, associating with one of his confidants that this might be a bad idea, and he tells him to get it over with. And but back with Flea, he asks Reva if are you sure Kenobi's going to come? And she replies that Kenobi fought alongside her father during the Clone Wars. He will come. He will not be able to help it. She believes that the Jedi will hunt himself. And back on Tatooine, Kenobi heads for the spaceport. She asks him, are you gonna go? You coming? And ultimately, he decides, yes, he is. With the lightsaber on his hip, he is ready. And thus, we conclude the first episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Part 1. We still got Part 2, fellas. You fucking ready?
Yeah.
Run it.
I just thought it was funny how Obi-Wan was just slinging that thing. I guess for us to see, but this man's just slinging that thing out in the open.
Oh, man, he didn't give a fuck who saw it. Homie revealed the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was interesting because he wants to be very discreet at times, but then there's other times where, even in the second episode, we'll kind of get there, but, Leia says, Jedi shit really loud, and he only stresses her, one time. And, she said it, 7 or 8 more times after that.
She was being a little too,
she's like, I want you to make me float.
I'm like,
you can't? Oh.
You're not a
Jedi, bitch.
You're not a Jedi.
Exactly.
Make me.
But with that, let's jump into this here second episode. What do you guys say?
I am ready. I'm here for it.
The first episode was longer than the actual episode itself, so I think we're right on pace for episode 2.
We're not going to rate.
It's only right. It's only right. But with that, Obi-Wan Kenobi goes on ahead, heads to Daiyu.
Joseph just
goes ahead and finds we'll get there, I promise. But he goes ahead and finds a little Princess Leia Organa, or he's trying to bring her back to her parents, and Obi-Wan didn't know where to go, so he asks a man in the streets of Daiyu, and he's like, "Oh man, people like their secrets here. Good luck, buddy." And he's like, "Well, I tracked the signal from Vect no cruise ship, and he's like, that's not going to work here." And he goes on and keeps walking and encounters a homeless clone trooper from the 501st Battalion who asks for credits to help a veteran have a warm meal tonight. And it's just interesting to see that the VA and the galaxy far, far away still fucking sucks.
Yeah. They were thrown out of they weren't needed anymore. The Empire just replaced all of them, laid them off.
Just a little Tamara Morrison cameo, which I just fucking love. I love that guy, So and
it was right after he said, "If I could ever use your guidance now, Master, this is the time." And then bam, he's like, I don't know, it was kind of cool. Right. Reminding him of his past, no, you're still Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And the look that Ewan McGregor gave for that performance, that little oh fuck! It's just devastation he was able to portray in just a quick couple seconds was so effective. And Kenobi goes ahead and drops a couple credits in there for him, and he brushes past a couple stormtroopers, and a pink-haired girl approaches him, offering him some spice, some Kessel Pure, some Glitter Stem, some Felution.
They're good.
And, interestingly enough,
you want some of that good?
This is Ewan McGregor's daughter.
Yeah, that's sick. That's just kind of dope. You're selling your dad drugs, which is hilarious.
And the whole interaction they have too. Kenobi goes "I'm looking for my daughter," and she responds eventually, "I was a daughter once.
I was someone's daughter once too."
Yeah, Dad. And then you went to Hollywood and made movies, and you weren't with me anymore, Dad. Wait, what if this is very meta? Nah, Ewan is a great
I love
father.
that. I love that. He's
father.
"Here's some fucking drugs. You'll forget she ever existed, buddy."
They just gave them their costumes, and they just said, "All right, just argue for us."
But after that, a young lad named Jaco, the little kid we see, approaches Kenobi, and he tells him that there's a Jedi who helps people. And Kenobi's like, "Oh, I thought the Jedi were all gone." And he's like, "I can take you to him for a price." And we cut there, and we see a hooded man named Haja Estri, played by one Kumail Nanjiani, which was a fucking joy to see. He leads a couple of people over to his desk where he closes some gates with his supposed forced powers.
Again, I loved it. It was
I
such a
loved
fucking.
it. It was a perfect role for Kumail Nanjiani.
It is, because he's so fucking stupid, and he just gets better and better as the
This is the
episode goes
Jedi
on.
mind trick. I am inside your mind.
I am invading your mind.
Hey, the magnet pole of the little intercom thing though, that's
Well,
slick.
that and then what we see
That's
later
slick.
whenever he confronts Reva, and then she like force pushes him up against the wall. He goes, "Oh, that's not magnets."
He's like, those are
That's
magnets.
what it feels like, huh? Damn.
Yeah, but nevertheless, he contacts the spaceport and is like, "I need you to give these people passage to Corellia. They'll be safe." Da 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 da. And the woman's like, "Wow, the Force is so strong with you." And Hajar's like, "It is." But continuing anyway. Nevertheless, the mother gives her some credits. Mother gives him some credits and promises she will never forget him. And Hajar tells her to forget him. Safety depends on it. We must help out our own. Protect this child. They will come for him. And Kenobi watches as Hajar fingers his cash before, they go away. And he approaches. He goes, "So, what the fuck going on? What's up, Hajar? I need some help." And he's like, "Oh, well, you came to the right place. I'm a fucking Jedi, man. How can I help you?" And he's like, "You're not a fucking Jedi." But before that, he's like, I take 1,000 credits for the help you see. He's like, "Ho, that light is very harsh, isn't it?" The smartass replies that Ewan gives him here are just
he's very
gold.
quippy, which I wasn't. I mean, I guess we've seen it. I guess I should. We've seen it. He's quippy. I mean, General Grievous, obviously, but it's nice to see that still hold true. I guess he's
Then he
still got
points a
quips.
blaster in his gut.
Yeah, he's definitely more
Put the
cutthroat though.
blaster on
Bitch,
him,
you
bro.
just robbed them.
Yeah.
I know you ain't Force sensitive.
Damn.
He's kind of giving off like
you was gangster now.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say he's almost giving me like giving off like Denzel Washington Training Day vibes, borderline.
Yeah.
Like he has changed. He is much more hardened.
Yeah,
now.
that's a hard motherfucker.
I
right
am
there.
much more.
He'll
hard
cut a motherfucker's
right
arm
now.
off in a cantina.
He'll cut someone in half
if need be.
if need be.
But once again, Haja admits, okay, yeah, I've been fleecing them. They're going to be safe, but they're just going to be a little poorer. And he asked, "Are you going to tell anyone?" And Kenobi's like, "Well, that depends on what you tell me." And he's like, "If you want to head to the sewers, good luck, but here you go." And Kenobi goes ahead and enters a little laboratory where they're cooking up some drugs, some meth, some space meth. And he makes a little tank explodes, and it creates a distraction for him to go ahead and slip through a door. And he's confronted by a couple, and he goes ahead and beats their fucking ass. I was like, "Kenobi, my king, I love you."
I just love that this is in my head, I don't feel like we get a ton of like hand-to-hand like Jedi or like force wielding combat. You get some, but only it seems like momentarily. And I love that it's like him resorting to just about anything other than the lightsaber. And I get for the story, they probably want to save that. But I think it's also a really interesting side of their mastery.
I loved it. And let me say, I don't know that there's been a single scene where Ewan McGregor has been more fucking hot than this little scene right here, where he puts this dude in a chokehold and whispers in his ear, "Where's the girl?" I was like, what? I was like, holy shit, that guy's hot. And nevertheless, Kenobi finds a cell where he finds a hooded figure. He's like, "Oh, this doesn't look suspicious. I'm going to lift the hood up and see if it is a child. Oh, wait, this thing without arms or legs isn't a child. It just had a hood over it." And I was like, okay, come on, Obi. Bamboozled, run amok, all of the
He ain't
above.
as good as he once was.
Nah, but they run on in there and they're like, "Come on, man, you got to be better than that." They hold him up against the wall, and Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers comes up and is like, "I can't believe you fucking fell for that. I can't. You risked everything for that little brat. That Inquisitor really has you figured out." And I'm gonna get fucking rich off this shit, man. And Kenobi's like, where's the girl, man? And he's like, I ain't gonna tell you that shit. You know, I can't believe a fucking Jedi would come in here and he'd bleed all over my fucking room. And he's like, well, everybody bleeds, bitch. And he drops that vial of spice, gets everyone in there absolutely fucking cooked. He slips on that mask, dips on out of there. I was like, I love Obi. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh my god! I mean, that was just awesome. The spice scene. I mean, he's so resourceful now. Like you just see him using every single.
He has to. Yeah, he has to now. You know, he doesn't have Jedi mind tricks. He doesn't have the Force. He doesn't have his saber. He can't just take control of any situation now. He can't make himself public. He's got to be just a gangster. And that's what he's doing.
I'm a gangster, biatch. That's how I feel about it. But nevertheless, meanwhile, the third Inquisitor, she pops on up. She's like, bitch, I got a lightsaber. Fuck off me. And she goes ahead and heads on into the sewers. But elsewhere, Kenobi finds Leia, who initially puts up a fight, punches him in the side, tries to sneak out, and he's like, hey, hold up. Your father sent me. I'm with Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm here to rescue you. Obi-Wan Kenobi? But this whole scene and this whole series, I expect, will frame Leia's complete trust. And that scene where Luke comes and fetches her and is like, I'm with Obi-Wan Kenobi, in a whole other light, where I'm going to be like, oh my God, that's her Uncle Ben. This is the reason she names her son after Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, this whole thing is so impactful on Leia. But we start here where Kenobi tries to plead with her. You gotta listen to me. Your father sent me. And Leia's like, why should I fucking trust you? He's like, would you prefer to stay here? Because I will. I'll fucking leave.
You really think that he could have said something to Obi-Wan, be like, hey, listen, whenever you go to pick her up, just tell her this and she'll know that I sent you. So she's not just like, oh yeah, my father sent you. You're just here to kidnap me to get your money, aren't you?
And then he's like, chicken fried rice, and she's like, oh, that's the code. Nevertheless,
chicken fried rice.
He leads her out of the sewers into the streets of Dayu, and Kenobi tells her, keep your fucking head down. And elsewhere, we see Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and his struggles is just absolutely fried on the floor of that cell. And the third sister opens it up and is like, my God, guys, where the fuck is Kenobi? Come on. I shouldn't have trusted you fucks. And meanwhile, Kenobi and Leia are changing out of their clothes. They're going to and the way he snuck her out in this orange hooded attire, I was like, man, if they're not doing a Padme parallel, plain and simple, with that orange suit from the Phantom Menace, seemingly, I loved that. And whenever they do change here, and he's like, all right, we're gonna buy that green jacket, and she goes to put on the gloves, and he's like, not the gloves, and she's like, I'm gonna put them on, and he's like, okay, the gloves. I love that he's just like, all right, I'm not even gonna fucking fight you on this. I'm gonna spoil the shit out of my niece. I love that.
Fun Uncle Obi. I mean, simple. Fun Uncle. He's the fun uncle.
And when they buy it, it's that little green thing, and it looks like Leia in Return of the Jedi. And it's like, oh my God, they're just loading me up with all the feels. Because there's something about this that made me go, that just connected me to the idea of Carrie Fisher. And I was just like, first off, this has been said on many of our podcasts before, but Leia is my favorite Star Wars character. And to get this continuation of the character in such a clear and concise way, in a way that flows so perfectly, and it's so honoring that original conception of the character, man, I was just like, I got moved to tears on multiple occasions just watching this kid act like Leia. Nothing even impactful happening. Just like I felt that shit, it moved me to tears multiple times, and I was so happy to see it. But
it was so you're misty eyed kind of the whole time, but then that one line that they say is what gets you over the edge. And you're like, oh fuck, they said something that connects Padme and Leia and her.
But Kenobi and he tells her that they have to head to the spaceport to reach the last transport, and Leia's like, I think we should go. And Kenobi's like, it's a risk, I'm risking my life being here. I need you to help me out here. Okay, go ahead and help me out. But meanwhile, the Grand Inquisitor, along with the fifth brother and fourth sister, we get introduced to another Inquisitor here, who, while alien, is quite attractive. Confront the third Inquisitor. He chastises Reva for kidnapping an Imperial Senator's daughter. Like, oh my God, could you be more dumb? What the fuck are you doing right now? And Reva's like, hey, we've done a lot worse. Okay, come on, don't act like this is the worst shit we've ever done.
Don't act like we didn't just get off a planet where my first move on the planet was to throw a knife at a person's face. And then my second move was to cut off an innocent woman's hand.
Yeah, like I'm clearly out of pocket, Mr. Grand Inquisitor.
I'm clearly kind of a psychopath.
Fuck with me all you want, but just know I've got it. And the fifth brother protests her after that, and she tells her that fellow Inquisitors have found a link between Kenobi and Organa in the archives, and that she's used Leia as bait to lure him out of hiding. And the Grand Inquisitor is just fucking pissed at her. She's disobeyed orders. She's defiant. And the fifth brother accuses Reva of trying to curry favor with the superiors. Like, oh, you're kissing ass, aren't you? And the Grand Inquisitor is like, let me remind you, ma'am, you fucking suck. You're the least of us. He's like, we got you out of the fucking gutter.
You are a garbage person. From the garbage.
I'm the Grand Inquisitor. I do what I want. And, she's like,
You think she had the ability to read minds while she was a Jedi? Or do you think she developed that in her Sith ways? Because, they said that you were only an option because of your abilities. Is that because she was a Jedi before? Or is it mind reading?
I think it's just because she was strong with the Force. Like, they were like, you're strong with the Force, so we picked you up. Like, we were like, all right, we'll take her on. But we've only ever seen Sith do what she does. We've seen Maul do it in the Clone Wars. We've seen Kylo Ren do it in the sequel trilogy. And now we've seen Reva do it here, where she probes Kumail Nanjiani's mind later on. But nevertheless, the fifth brother accuses Reva, or no, wait, I already said that. But, the Grand Inquisitor orders them to secure the city. And he's like, I'm going to capture Kenobi myself. Y'all have been fucking up. And he relieves Reva of her duties and warns her that she will be disciplined for going rogue. And he goes ahead and departs with the other Inquisitors. However, defiant as ever, Reva goes ahead and places a bounty on Kenobi, saying that every local bounty hunter should know that he's here and that they're trying to get his ass. A little bit of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier vibes with Sharon Carter putting that little bounty on the boys back in Madripoor. But she contacts her boy, is like, I've got plans. I know what I'm doing. I can deal with it.
And she said, make sure that they only report to me.
Yeah, don't talk to anyone else, because I'm not supposed to be doing this.
Didn't learn her lessons, just still going behind the Grand Inquisitor's back, doing her own thing.
And she will continue throughout this episode.
I was going to say, let's be honest. At a certain point, she's in deep enough. She's already in deep shit. She might as well just keep digging the hole and hope she finds.
Yeah, but I think there was a point where he made his point, and then she deliberately, after that, decided to hatch an entire new plan.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. She's already reached that point, and so like he said, you will be punished after this is over. Like, clearly she's in deep shit. She might as well keep digging and hope she finds the gold nugget at the bottom of the pit that is Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the douchebag. Yeah, Inquisitor was just like, yeah, you know what? You should be ashamed of yourself for doing this, but thank you. I'm going to take credit for us finding Obi-Wan and turning him in. You know the work, but
and we will get to that. We will. Because, man, fuck the Grand Inquisitor, bottom line. But across the Daiyu city, several bounty hunters are receiving an alert that Kenobi is now up for hunt. And realizing the situation has gone awry, Kenobi's like, oh, we've got to go. And while walking through the marketplace, Kenobi is like, Leia, chill out a little bit, keep a low profile.
Quit
Leia's
yelling to the people around us that I'm a
like,
Jedi.
Man, you ain't a Jedi. Show me your lightsaber. And Kenobi's like, no. And Leia's like, so you're not a Jedi. Levitate
so you're not
me.
a Jedi. Yeah, use the Force then, Jedi.
And she's like, you ain't no fucking Jedi. And he's like, my name is Ben. And she's like, that is not a Jedi name. I know a Jedi name when I hear it, and Ben is not one of them. And Leia's like, after Ben's like, oh, you're a little smarter than I gave you credit for. How old are you? She's like 10. He's like, you don't act like it.
I love how he consistently is referred to 10 years ago, like, oh, I'm not the same man I was 10 years ago and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which
how old
would
are
have
you
been,
again?
Yeah. He's like your uncle who never knows how old you are. You show up, he's like, well, how old are you? 17 now? No, 21.
How old are you
What are
again?
you, 23, Sonny?
The most formative day of my life was 10 years ago to the day. How old are you again?
Yeah, right. But,
I've had nightmares about this day for the past 10 years. I've counted in my head. How old are you, though?
Potentially the funniest moment in the show comes up next, where the young lad who has seen the bounty up for Ben Kenobi runs to Haja and goes, oh, we had this man. And Haja goes, that's embarrassing. We're gonna have to find him before everyone else does. I absolutely loved that. He was like, oh, that's embarrassing.
At first, I thought that he was jumping in on the bounty, and he's like, "Oh, got to go get the bounty."
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I kind of think he was.
Oh wait, oh
yeah, I'm pretty
initially
sure he was.
Maybe that was the idea.
No, I think his intent was like, God damn it, let's get to him first. I want to collect that bounty. But then once he realized he's a
Jedi.
Yeah, he was like, God damn it.
Posing as. There's certainly an element of he clearly idolizes the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where he was willing to be like, oh, these are the nicest, coolest motherfuckers in the galaxy. I know people will believe me when I say I'm trying to help them and I bamboozle them.
What
as soon as he learns that Ben's a Jedi, he's like, oh, I gotta help this man. I gotta help this man. But while walking through a narrow street, Kenobi is accosted by a bounty hunter, and he knocks the fucking shit out of him.
Swift uppercut, bro. Oh my god!
Knocked his ass out.
Batman needed 2.
Done.
Obi-Wan needed 1.
Also, didn't even hesitate to check if this man was a bounty hunter. Didn't even wait to see, ooh, is he a bounty hunter? Just, you're approaching me. You have asked for death.
You're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
For death.
But elsewhere in the city, the Grand Inquisitor is ordering the Fifth Brother to lock down the city, dispatch a garrison. He's like, we really got to get this man. He is an ember of a bygone era.
That shit gave me chills.
Oh, I loved it. He's like they think he is the last bit of hope for the galaxy.
He is the last Jedi.
He is. And the fourth sister brings a captured bounty hunter and reveals that Reva has posted a bounty on Kenobi. And, Grand Inquisitor's like, fuck, Reva! And, she's up top on buildings. And she's looking around, and we see Leia tending to her little damaged droid companion. And she tells Kenobi, he was damaged by kidnappers. And Kenobi's like, good. And then he's like, wait, I'm sorry. I let your parents know you're going to be home and safe. How's Lola? What's going on here? And, she's like, Lola's going to be fine. She's cool. And meanwhile, Kenobi goes ahead and tends to the bounty hunter's hologram. And Leia's like, wait a minute. Your face is on there. And since your face is on there, you must be a bad guy. Oh no, you're the real problem. I've got to run away from you. Understandably so. Understandably so.
But also, I don't know, maybe, clearly she knows these are bounty hunters. And bounty hunters, by and large, aren't good people. You'd think she'd be like, oh, bounty hunters are after you. You're the real deal.
Yeah, but they hunt each other.
They hunt
all the
each
time.
other,
So,
but
like,
they
it's
also
usually
hunt.
a bad person that they're hunting, though. It's
I
usually
mean,
not a good person.
Not really.
I guess it's anyone.
Everyone important in the Star Wars galaxy, I feel like, has been hunted down by bounty hunters at some point.
Fair.
Like, you think, like fucking, was Grogu a bad person? Huh? Let me ask you that.
He did have hella bounties on him.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. I mean, fucking Leia had a bounty on her.
He could be one of the darkest creatures popping up in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I guess we do know that there is that hint of darkness in him, per Luke.
Yeah, we don't know. Damn. Nah, but like, yeah, Leia was out of there, and I don't know. That was kind of like one thing that took me out of the episodes was like the chases that Leia was in, and like
swear.
Obviously an adult person could catch a kid instantly, you know.
I've seen. I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter where people were like defending it. And they're like, anyone who's ever chased a kid in like a city or in the woods knows.
Oh, wait, why are you chasing kids through the city?
Like chase like their child. Because let's be honest, kids are kind of fucking stupid and they will just run away for no reason. Like, I'm sorry, but like, ooh, she ducked underneath a branch that's on the ground, and then they would like run up to it and they're like, oh, and it's like, jump over it. This branch is 2 feet off the ground, and you're like walking up to it like, oh, impassable terrain. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Or the branch at the chest level, duck. Yeah, it was the people chasing Leia in the woods and the people chasing Leia. And Obi-Wan chasing Leia through the city. It's just
through the
like,
city, it's more believable.
Come on, people.
The woods was rough.
The city was a little more believable because at that point you're like, oh, running in between people, and Obi-Wan's it's a big an adult. It's hard to squeeze between people. Through the woods, it was just like, ooh, she ducked under a branch. Oh,
it was like the way I took it was that
now.
she's ran through. The way I took it is she's ran through these woods so many times. She knows them better than everyone else. She's able to maneuver.
And like
them.
that was my first thought. Like whenever the chase scene started, I was like, oh, she knows the woods better. Cool. But then there was one. It was at some point there was one where it was just
the
really
dude like chops his feet.
Oh yeah,
turns
the
right,
chop step.
And
she turned right. And you're just like.
Hey, that was a first round move right there. That is a first round grade on that cut right there.
She's going top 3.
That 3 cone drill is unreal. So you can just go fuck right off, Miles.
That was the part where I was like, all right, this is inexcusable. This is come on.
This is the Leia we come to know and love. But meanwhile, the Grand Inquisitor, along with the fifth brother and fourth sister, confront Reva, and he chastises her for kidnapping. Oh wait, I am way past that. Sorry. Leia flees into the marketplace, diving under a fucking big ass alien and navigating through an animal auction, and she runs into the path of a masked bounty hunter who is hunting for Kenobi. And he demands to know Kenobi's whereabouts. And Kenobi's like, "Ha, bitch, gotcha!" Shoots his ass. And Kenobi also fights a gray-skinned humanoid and knocks his ass out real quick. And he follows Leia. But she's like, leave me alone. And she climbs up a ladder. And meanwhile, the Inquisitors lead some stormtroopers through the marketplace. But Leia reaches the roof, flees across several buildings. She's leaping. She's bounding. And Kenobi is in pursuit. But a reptilian alligator motherfucking bounty hunter, dope as fuck, comes out, shoots a gun at her. Shoots at Kenobi.
Did you guys notice what his gun, like how his gun looked? Like the fucking mini Gatling gun? Like, he had the fucking turret.
It was a sick ass character.
That was kind of nasty. I like that.
I need the action figure now, but Kenobi starts shooting back, exchanging shots with the guys, but Reva is becoming aware of it because of said shots, and she leaps over a bunch of buildings, and Leia continues fleeing with Kenobi in pursuit, and ultimately, she comes to this edge, and we see Reva just parkouring her shit through this place, fucking crouching tiger, sleeping dragon type shit.
Crazy. That was some good.
She was in a fucking old school martial arts movie. The way she was moving.
I don't care. I like that. I thought it gave a nice I guess, I don't know. Like I said, like think about what we saw last time. think what we saw last time in like Book of Boba when like everybody said the action that took place within the city was just too slow. You know, you had the speeder bike scenes and stuff. But I mean, this is just a human that is going so crazy on the maneuvering
Going
and yeah.
ham with
I
it.
mean, I thought it was great to see. I thought it was pretty interesting. It was pretty well
My
executed.
favorite part of the episode, potentially, is right here. When Leia is at the edge of the building, Kenobi's like, Leia, don't. She's like, you know what? This is a good 11-foot gap.
I'm
I can
10
do
years
it.
old
I'm
with
not
2
even
feet
going to
long
try to
legs.
get a running start. I'm going to broad jump this distance.
She is a fucking animal. I mean, I gotta admire the tenacity. She is a
I
first
love it.
rounder.
I
The
frankly
commitment, the
love it.
dedication, it's all there.
I love it. You know, I love Obi-Wan calling like, Leia, no! Leia, no! And she dives. She's like, Ben, help! And
Yeah, I love
what
that she
scene?
dove in immediate, instant regret. Like, she dove off with the biggest middle finger to Kenobi you've ever seen. And then fucking, as soon as she realized what she had done, was like, oh,
I'm
hey,
dead.
now would be a really cool time for you to be a Jedi for real, though.
It's like, hey,
You know,
dude, I really hope you're not like Kumail Nanjiani. Please use something other than magnets.
oh, and he tries his best. He's like, Leia, please hold on. For the love of God, do not let go of that rope. And she unfortunately cannot hold on for long. But and what appears to be his first use of the Force in a good 10 years, he saves a Skywalker.
Mm.
And this part, man, I'd be lying if I said a little droplet of water didn't fall from the
I
eye
think
down the cheek.
the emotion he acted in that specific scene with, Colton, you mentioned how he's screaming Leia, but like the intensity of which he's acting in that scene and talking is just, oh man, that was something.
It was so fucking good. I loved this scene so much. And, you know, the Force cushions her blow as she drops ever so slightly to the ground. And a bunch of people are like, what the fuck? Goddamn, that was cool. There's definitely a Jedi here. And Obi-Wan comes cruising around the corner like, oh, Leia, what happened? Oh, no. And,
Look at this thing swinging on my hip.
Yeah, but Kenobi and Leia reach the spaceport only to learn that the authorities have canceled all of the travel. And this is in part because Haja has come around the corner, shot down a bounty hunter, and is like, hey, y'all need help. They shut this shit down, but there's a place you can go, a fully automated cargo pad. Go there. It'll take you to Mapuzo.
Yes, Mapuzo.
And, people will help you there. Mapuzo, Mapuzo. And I mean, Mapuzo, interestingly enough, I don't want to read too much into it. Potentially some bounty hunter stuff, potentially some organized crime stuff there, because if you remove the RIO from the writer of The Godfather's name, Mario Puzo, it becomes Mapuzo.
Wow.
Just saying. Must be. There's got to be. There's got to be a connection there. There's a connection. I won't hear any other way.
Wow.
Haja tells Kenobi here, you know, he's trying to make amends, and he's like, I promise you, I'm not going to betray you. I got those people to safety. I'll get you to safety. And, Kenobi goes ahead and goes on after Haja assures him that he's not alone.
Mm.
And,
That was kind of powerful, though. It's so interesting to see him trust so, easily. And I know he's kind of backed into a corner. But, I mean, when you think about how he was talking about how he didn't even trust himself when Bale came to talk to him and convince him to go help Leia. Like, he didn't even really have faith or any reason to trust himself to be able to do that. So, like, the fact that he's just like, fuck it, whoever can help me, please. Just, like, let this work, because I can't take another fucking failure.
Well, also, actually, the fact that, Leia was like, I think if people are trying to help us, that we should accept their help. Is that the part where he was like, she was like, what? And he was like,
Yes, that's that part.
You remind me of somebody, somebody, an old friend of mine or something.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, that's a little bit further ahead, but yeah, that's exactly it. And like that spirit prevailing through Leia is so fucking nice to see. I love watching her have those traits of Padme. And but meanwhile, the Grand Inquisitor is interrogating Nokru. He's got the double bladed lightsaber spinning in his face, and ultimately, I think he kills him.
Just the nose. Just the nose.
Just the nose. Got his nose a little bit. And meanwhile, Reva meets a disguised Haja in an alleyway, and Haja's like, "Oh, you found me. What's the bounty up to now these days? 1,000,000 credits? 2,000,000 credits? Oh, I'm a Jedi. Help me.
It wouldn't matter either way because you're not going to get it.
No,
and she looked at him like,
I'm going to kill your ass. And Raven's like, "Oh, bitch." Throws him up against the wall. He's like, "Oh, those aren't magnets, are they?" And Raven's like, "So where's Kenobi?" And he's like, "I'm not going to tell you, but
I don't know."
Damn,
She's
but
like, "You don't need to tell me."
You know
I
what
got
this
this
does,
shit,
though? It makes it seem that Haja wasn't on Obi-Wan's side and that he, like led him into a trap. Like he trusted him and, like, he was doing the right thing, but now Obi-Wan and Leia are going to think that like, he tripped him up, you know?
I see.
Oh.
So he's going to have to redeem himself
from the
later
perspective
on.
of Obi and Leia, they'll be like, fucking Haja, man.
I think
will,
Obi-Wan
yes.
knows. I think Obi-Wan knows that Haja's just a bumbling fucking idiot.
Yeah, he would put trust into him, but not like all the marbles on him.
From
or
their
anything.
perspective,
he knows. Yeah, he was
he's
like,
going to come back later in the show, and they're not. I guarantee Leia and Obi-Wan are not going to be pleased to see him. They're going to be like, "Wait, you set us up,
dude?
Yeah, you set us up, dude." And like, I don't know. That's the vibe, because like they have no idea they were sent here, and then the Inquisitor so happens to show up. That's all they know.
No, I'm with you. I feel you on that. But, following Haja's instruction, Kenobi and Leia arrive up at that cargo port, and Kenobi's like, "I don't think we should trust Haja. This is giving me the heebie-jeebies." And Leia's like, "Well, since I've met you, I've been shot at, I've been hunted, I've fallen off a building, I've done all these things. So if someone is offering me some help, I think I ought to accept. I think it's not a bad idea." And Kenobi takes a second. She's like, "What?" He says, "You remind me of someone. She was fearless, stubborn. She was a leader." And Leia's like, "I'm not stubborn." "Yeah, you are." "No, I'm not." And Leia asks, if his friend was a Jedi. And he says, "No. She was a leader who died a long time ago." And I was like, "Oh my God, Padme crumbs."
See,
I love it.
I don't know. My initial thought was Padme,
No.
but I also
you're wrong.
It could have been
It's
Satine
Padme.
too.
It's Padme.
I think it's Padme.
No, he says, "I'm sorry."
I think it could also be Satine.
He says, "I'm sorry."
No,
too.
he is referring to Padme, but the general way he describes her does happen to
also be Satine.
align with Satine.
The fact that he
It
says,
just
"I'm
has to be
sorry,"
his mom.
too.
It has
No
to be her
Satine
mom.
here. There's no relevance for Satine. Let's get Satine out of our heads, people.
Leia says, "I'm sorry."
Satine was literally the love of his life, Tillman.
Okay.
Exactly.
No.
In the Clone Wars, in a different show, she's no relevant here. In the Obi-Wan with Leia, there's no relevance. I'm done with it.
Tillman, just
No,
because you're not cultured
I get where
and
all
you
of
haven't
these things
watched
are
all
coming
the
from.
other shows.
I will say this is 100. And you're not denying it. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
this
no,
is
I agree. It's
100%
Padme, but it also fully describes Satine as well.
vague enough to also describe.
Yeah.
I guess it
describes Ahsoka too, huh? It just describes Ahsoka too.
Because Ahsoka wasn't a leader.
No.
What? She was.
Yeah, like we got
we have a queen of a planet,
Satine also being a stubborn leader who was brave. Like there are 3 characteristics he gives to generally. I mean, queens everywhere can relate, and it just so happens that both the people he referred to were. The person he referred to was a queen of Naboo. Meanwhile, the queen of Mandalore happens to have some similar characteristics.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
why.
I just say it's that because they both also have very strong connections to Obi-Wan.
True.
I don't know why, but this room that they were in, the cargo hold, reminded me of the room that Maul and Ezra opened the Sith Holocron in.
Really wondering why you were
the layout was exactly the same. Like I was comparing images, it's like the same it's like the same room, but it's in completely different. Like, I don't know. It was just really weird. I noticed it right when I watched it, and then I look at pictures of it, and then I compare it, and I'm
really
like,
good. That's a really keen observation.
I don't know. It was
there,
just
Joe, because
just
I
a
would
real
never have
fucking
made
deep
that
cut.
connection.
I don't know how I made the connection, honestly. I just was like, that room looks familiar, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it, and then this popped up, and I'm like, oh my god.
No, I get you. I get you 100%. That's if
I don't know.
There's some connection that'd be dope.
There's
I'm
zero
hold off
connection.
until I hear.
There is zero connection. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not believing in any of that at all.
Yes, but before Obi and Leia can proceed, Reva enters the cargo port, and Obi's like, "All right, hop on that ship. If I'm not back in time, get the fuck out of here."
If I'm not back in 5 minutes, wait a little longer.
Yeah, and Leia activates the cargo ship whenever she gets there, and Reva attempts to lure Kenobi out. And she's like, oh, your fear betrays you. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Also, I'm going to bring you to Darth Vader. And Obi-Wan goes, oh, what?
A Darth who?
Who? And she goes, yeah, that's right.
You said Darth Sidious, right? Darth Sidious, please?
Oh, you didn't know. Yeah, Anakin Skywalker is alive.
Mm.
And he's been looking for you a long time. And she's like, I'm going to be the one to deliver you. I'm so excited. And the revelation. I love this little part because it also confirms what we've expected of Vader generally, but has kind of been fucked with in recent like comic runs and stuff. Vader is a shadow figure, man.
Mm.
He's not known. People don't know.
I think
Darth
he's
Vader
probably trying to build up the mystique around like him and fear and stuff. Is like if his
kills anyone who knows that
his muscle is this intimidating and scary. Imagine what the guy who's got all of these people in check is like. I mean, that's fucking.
But also, you got to think about it. Like most people also don't know Darth Sidious. They just know Emperor Palpatine. They don't. Most people don't know that the Empire is being run by Sith overlords.
Yeah,
I don't mean to say anything like we expected him to. Like, I mean, like this is a very good revelation in my opinion. Like, it makes sense, and I enjoy the fact that Kenobi would have no idea that Vader was alive.
Yeah, I think this does two things. It kind of proves more to the fact that she was a Jedi before, because like, how else does she know that Anakin is Darth Vader? Unless she sees Anakin at the temple wrecking through everyone and like realizing everything, because Vader doesn't let anyone live if they know who he really is. Like, Anakin is dead to him, and if anyone mentions that name, he slices them dead. Like, but like,
mad,
and like at the same time, it also proves that Kenobi has done nothing for the past 10 years. He's literally just been a hermit watching over Luke. That is it. There's nothing. He hasn't tried to connect with Anakin at all. He knows. Like, I don't know. I never thought that Obi-Wan just wouldn't have known that he was alive until it popped up. And it was just such a big moment. Like, I'm like, oh my God, this dude is fucked. Like, this dude is fucked up now. Like, holy shit.
But man, I loved this scene. I absolutely loved him being like, oh my God, he's alive. Like, fuck. But before we really get there, she is interrupted by the Grand Inquisitor, who is like, I'm done. I'm fed up with all your shit, Reva. You've gone on far too long. And Reva's like, well, I found Kenobi. And, he responds that he can't risk losing him again. Can't risk losing him again. Which means Kenobi's gone on some excursions prior to this.
Wait, you think?
If the Grand Inquisitor can't lose track of him again.
You think that's not... Oh.
He said we can't lose track. I don't know if that was talking about the Empire or like the fact that he got away in the beginning in the first
True,
place.
I guess it could just be he got away at the end of Order 66, and maybe that's what they're referring to, but I took it... I
like that idea more, because then it implies that she's gone for Kenobi before.
Well, it's kind of already been implied that they've
I guess
gone after
true.
Kenobi before, because she's like, because he tells her in episode 1 where he's like,
But I guess
you have to
length.
forget
Yeah.
Kenobi.
Well, I guess she could have
We're
just
not
been
going
like,
to catch him.
she could have just
been
been
hunting
saying,
him.
she could have
Yeah,
just
it
been
could
saying
have
like,
been-
oh,
yeah.
I want to catch Kenobi so bad, or like
It
just
coulda-
saying, or whatever.
Yeah,
Like she didn't
but
have
I'm
to
saying
actually
that
make
like
any
with
action.
that plus what happens in this scene, it is we've almost captured him before. He's escaped our grasp. We have to catch him this time.
He goes on to be like, all right, Reva, move aside. I'm going to handle this. And she stabs him through the torso. And, she gloats to him. Yeah, you think I was going to let you take all the credit. Like, I'm going to get this guy's ass.
I'm going to be honest. I think he really fucked up by, like, antagonizing. Like, why would you why wouldn't you just be like, let's get him? Like, just fucking tag
Right,
along
like,
and
work
then be
together.
like, fucking kick her off
It's in
the
his own
fucking
head.
platform.
He
No,
thinks
But
they're
he wants
Sith.
to, like, rub it into a person with an absolute psycho mind that's just ready for blood at any moment. Why would
he's
you?
so
why are you
fearful
playing
that
with it?
he, I don't know,
Tyler,
he
they're
thinks that she's
Sith.
scared of him. Yeah, I
They're
don't know.
Sith. That's the whole thing. They're
I mean,
they don't work together. They don't use teamwork. They're all assholes.
He
It's
probably
always been my beef with the Inquisitor ideal. How the fuck does this work? It doesn't, as we see here. But as the cargo shuttle departs, Reva vows, you won't last long. We're going to find you. The Empire will find you. And inside the shuttle, Kenobi senses a disturbance in the Force, and Leia notices that he's in distress, and he goes, Anakin. And we cut to Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader in a bacta tank with his eyes snapping open. Those yellow eyes.
So now we know what
Just a little bit of
fueled
cum
the
right there.
rage. Anakin or Vader was already pissed that he lost Padme. But like now that he knows Kenobi's like alive and he knows like kind of where, he's gonna be like fucking.
Well, he's known Kenobi's alive.
But he knows that he can find him now. And
No,
he's
he
like,
doesn't. No, they
activated
didn't.
mode.
He doesn't
like,
have the yellow eyes because of that. That was just the cut to
No,
the
I'm
scene.
just saying he's gonna go apeshit because
once he figures
like,
out,
he's like, oh, I can kill him now. Like we know where he's.
I love that,
sort of thing.
like, the person that we all beloved so much, and this obviously makes sense, but it's just so funny that, like, there's so many characters throughout varying different points in Star Wars timeline that are like, Kenobi! Like, they're like,
they're like, I gotta get this
insatiable
fucking guy.
hatred for Kenobi. Everyone hates that motherfucker. That's the kind of motherfucker we love.
Oh, man. But I will say, I absolutely loved the starting point of this series. This was such a good way to kick it off. It was everything I wanted it to be and more.
Yeah, I felt like they went absolutely crazy with the fact that, like, it gave us just enough, like, plenty of enough substance to be like, wow, that, like, got off to a really fast start, but not so much that it's like they're just blowing it all early. Like, so much still in the bank.
Yeah,
and
they're,
like, I feel like in some shows we've seen in the past that, like, they've kind of gotten off to sluggish starts, and it's like a lot of background filler stuff. But this story also is just, the bar is so low for them to reach. Like, we just want to see any content with this guy. So,
but
like,
they're doing a great job just edging us perfectly without not giving us too much to where they blow it all too early, but giving us just enough to where we're just sitting there just being like, just give it,
brilliantly put.
Almost cummies.
Almost cummies. But I'm gonna break this down for the folks that we are joined by, because it is just me and Joseph who have done this as of now. The Penny Bloom rating scale. So Kyler, Miles, Tillman, you have not been a part of this yet, I don't believe. This is something that has started as a result of me and Joseph embarking on the 52-year journey through film. And through the Moon Knight's Watch, we applied it to television episodes. So we've got 3 ratings. We've got, on a scale of 5 stars, our enjoyment, just how much the episode's connected with you, and I expect that these will be relatively high.
If any of you 4 don't give 5s for that stat, I will find you and kill you.
There you go. That's the bottom line. Another one is genre. and Star Wars is kind of a whole thing onto its own, this space opera, space fantasy thing. It's kind of genre defining no matter what. So we'll see how that shakes out of 5 stars. And just overall critically as a production, this is writing, directing, acting, soundtrack, just all the things critically that go into a movie, how we rate it out of 5 stars. So we're going to start with episode 1.
What was film? I missed that. Sorry.
That's what it was. Sorry.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Yeah, just how it was made, like just everything.
Okay.
That goes into
gotcha.
like an Academy Award, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Sorry. Yeah. You're in.
No, yeah. Sorry, I didn't articulate that. But let's start with enjoyment. I think it's safe to say that both of these episodes are probably 5s because it is Star Wars. Because it is Kenobi, and we were so happy to see them back, and they executed so well. For me, these are 5s. I had nothing but an enjoyable experiments here.
Experiments.
Yes.
Experiments.
Yeah. No, it was tears of joy. I was very, very
Tyler,
happy boy.
I think
You're
I want
starting
to
to open your mouth. I swear to God.
I want to shake the room here.
Whoa.
I'm gonna go now. Listen, hear me out.
Yeah,
Based off of what I know is coming and what this shit is gonna give us in the next handful of episodes, I'm gonna give a 5 to number 2, but I'm gonna give a 4.5 to number 1. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy the shit out of number 1, but I just know that I can't set a bar at 5 because it's just not right. I'll give the number 2 a 5 just for all the stuff that they went back and the way that things were connected and just the callbacks, but I'm going to give 1 a 4.5.
Let me run with you here. Beyond that, it's been a couple days since the episodes came out, right? I found myself drastically more compelled to revisit episode 2 than I was episode 1.
Makes sense why they released.
Well, and here's my other theory. Like I said, we're going to get so much more. And I honestly feel like if this show is the way it's going to be, it's 6 episodes, right? That's what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not much. There's no way. So I'm going to go ahead and call my shot that this episode will be the lowest enjoyment rating. And I think that's going to make perfect sense.
Okay.
I think that makes...
I could agree with you 100% if episode 1 didn't start with the recap of just everything that was just pure gold, and then also immediately after the title card, or immediately after the Star Wars and then the little flashy thing, and before the title card itself, we got to see a bunch of younglings and Jedi getting killed. That just 5.
So here's my thing. I'm with you, Kyler, but I'm gonna split the difference because it is Star Wars and because it is Ewan McGregor. I do understand the compellment to go to 4.5 out of enjoyment, but I'm gonna go 4.75 for that first episode. It's hard to not love it,
Yeah. Thought experiment for y'all. Imagine they didn't drop the second episode. You'd be a little disappointed.
I would not be disappointed.
I think you would.
No, because you got to think, without having seen the second episode, if you only watched the first episode, you would have still had a 5 on the enjoyment scale.
And see, is it fair to say that we know we're going to get better, so we have to set the floor low? Like, we're not comparing this to other Obi-Wan episodes. We're comparing it to just TV in general.
Yeah, with the film and the genre, if you want to do that, I think it makes more sense. This is the enjoyment category. This is, did you have fun watching this episode?
And I did, but I can't do it. I look back at episodes of shows like Mando, like Book of Boba, and I'm not gonna say, I don't even know if I enjoyed an episode of Book of Boba. Actually, I did. There's at least one out of Book of Boba that I
don't disrespect.
So I gotta say, I can't put this as like a 5 because that would discredit a lot of the other episodes that I would rank.
Because you're getting better.
I'm still giving the second one a 5.
Right.
You're getting better, Kyler.
I'm behind it, actually.
All right.
I'm 100% behind it because compared to other episodes of Star Wars television, the first episode, it was a great pilot. It was a great way to kick off the series, but it's not a 5 out of 5 enjoyment. I mean, like, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to see it. And, because of that, it propels it. But I found myself on rewatch going, I can't wait to get to the second one. And if there's already another episode where I can tell I like it more, the first one can't be a 5.
That's fair.
All right.
It's fair. I mean, a 4.75 is not bad. Like,
No, it is still above a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
All right, fine. 4.99.
Okay, fair compromise.
There you go. But the second episode, that's a 5 out of 5 enjoyment.
Yeah,
I think there's no doubt there. As far as the genre goes, I think these are both 5 out of 5s.
Yeah.
It is Star Wars.
Just
like,
how it is there.
Kind of its own genre. And then critically, as it is presented before us, I love the soundtrack. Natalie Holt and John Williams absolutely destroyed it. John Williams, Obi-Wan theme. Fucks. I've been listening to it on repeat this entire podcast. The acting, I love Ewan McGregor. I love little Leia. I love Reva. And I know I've seen a lot of people complaining about her performance as cold and distant and not unfeeling. And to them, I go,
that's the whole fucking point.
We're dealing with a Sith.
Yeah.
She's doing really well. So like performances, awesome. Storytelling wise, I think we're in a really good spot. One thing, I only had one gripe throughout watching it, and I don't even think it will maintain a gripe because I think he'll be back. The Grand Inquisitor's death. If he is dead, it absolutely sets a precedent for canceling stuff out in Star Wars Rebels. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
If he is dead, it sets a bad precedent for what can be done to the Star Wars Rebels part of the lore. And I don't want shit there to change.
Yeah, I feel like they're not going to change, especially because, Dave Filoni, Ahsoka and Rebels and all that stuff were his babies.
I don't know. Disney's making decisions now. It's like it's Jon Favreau up there.
I mean, Rebels was a Disney XD. It was always.
That's true. That's true. There's no way they fuck. There's no way they fuck with Rebels.
They make is Rebels canon? Do they consider it canon?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's Disney. It was made by Disney.
Oh, then the Grand Inquisitor's not dead.
Well, but
and that's the thing is that I don't think we've seen Sith survive far worse, and I just don't think this is something a back to tank.
Yeah, that's what. Well, and that's what I told you whenever we were talking about it immediately after the episode. I said we've seen two people get cut in half and survive. I think he'll probably be good getting stabbed once.
Yeah, and apparently force sensitive people can heal. So
there you go. But so as far as the filmmaking side of things. The first episode was, it was well directed, and so was the second one. They were both well written. I wouldn't say they were jaw dropping. There wasn't anything about these that made me go oh my god, I can't believe they got that shot off. Oh my god, that performance was immaculate. There was nothing that made me go, oh, this was perfect.
If it's me, if there's any episode that gets close to that level, it's the second one. I'm not bashing the first one, but I just think that the way they balance colors, you got so much more in the second episode in terms of different settings, different colors, different themes. I come back to that scene. I come back to that scene where Kenobi's yelling at Leia, and just like I said, the passion and just that performance, the way that was scripted and directed to play out, and the fight sequencing in that scene, in this one, and the creativeness of how Kenobi was getting out of things. I thought that was.
Right. We kind of have to.
I'm with you.
I don't know.
I think the second episode is critically better than the first.
For this rating, though, we kind of have to step away from our Star Wars brains and imagine we're watching this as a normie that knows nothing really at all. And how does it perform there? And
nevertheless, I think these are still better television episodes. This is what's crazy, and me and Joseph have talked about this 101, but I don't think I've talked about it with the rest of you. Star Wars television is 50 times better than Marvel television. It's not even close, I don't think, as far as the value of production, the storytelling that goes into it, the emotions behind it. I just think Star Wars has so much more meaning behind it.
I'm sorry. I know I'm kind of throwing a wrench in this. I was looking through the other stuff and looking at your Moon Knight thing. What is Storage Guy Mephisto?
We won't explain. Go listen to the episode.
Okay. I'm sorry, Joseph. I know that was you.
Not me! It wasn't me! Fuck you! Okay. Yes, let's go! That makes me happy that you immediately thought it was me, because it does seem like a very, very me theory.
That just seems like a Hayward.
It was a very off the wall, very dismissed.
That seems like a Hayward Ultron.
It was building on that. It was building on that energy with Moon Knight.
Okay.
But Obi-Wan here, I truly
sorry.
think Star Wars is consistently better television than Marvel is.
Yes.
And I as far as the feeling behind it, like I feel like I can tell the creatives behind Star Wars care about it. And there's a lot of Marvel stuff, while I love it, that feels a bit streamlined. And I don't feel that with Star Wars. I don't feel like they phoned
Marvel
it in
feels,
for anything.
Yeah. This is organic. I don't know. Marvel's kind of formulaic now. We expect kind of the same thing over and over, just told a different way.
I think that you give, in terms of film, I would say, like, trying to put my Star Wars stuff aside, I think that could be like a 4 flat. Like, I think that episode could be like a 4. And then I think the next one,
I think I'm with you.
I think even the next one, like, I'll even go harsh on that one too if we want, just because I think the bar's going to get raised so much. I could even see like a 4.25 for the second one. Like, not
That's
that
exactly
much better,
where I
but I
was
think there was a
anyways.
couple things that were like standout moments that, like, maybe you missed in the first one.
You're right on the money for me. There, like, as far as what I have in the past considered 4.75 and above, these episodes don't touch it. They just don't. Like, I think they were awesome. They were a great starting point, but there's very little about these episodes critically that makes me drop my jaw and go, "Oh my God, this is so immaculately well made."
And I think to go off of that too is, like, I look back at the trailer, and when I'm watching those episodes today, but when I watched them today again, both 1 and 2, I look at it and I'm like, man, I'm like pretty sure almost all of that footage from the trailers that we've seen has been from these 2 episodes. Like,
yes.
They obviously have, and this shouldn't surprise us, we've seen it time and time and again whenever we talk about these shows, but they have so much up their sleeve that they're waiting to, like, pull out in these next 4 episodes that we haven't even seen yet. So, like, that's what leads me to believe, like, we gotta manage the expectation.
Yeah,
a little bit
honestly,
on these first
like,
2.
At the beginning of Book of Boba, did you ever have a shred of thought of Cad Bane?
Yes.
Really? Did you really think,
Yes.
like,
Tillman,
Boba Fett, let's go, we're getting Cad Bane?
Yes,
No.
because I told Colton, because it's a book of Boba, which means you're gonna get bounty hunters, and I'm like, we never saw Cad Bane die ever, so that is a possibility. He's such a beloved character in the Clone Wars, so if we're getting bounty hunters, you better throw Cad Bane in there just for views or just for fan service.
Sorry, I didn't think it was
real quick
obvious.
Though,
but,
I gotta throw something in there. I'm okay with the lower ratings for film on both of these. Do what you want to do. I feel like you gotta bump not the first above the second, but you gotta bump it a little bit closer for one thing and one thing alone. Just the opening sequence, along with Order 66 on repeat on the Ox.
Order 66.
He cannot stay away from that. I mean, you could bump it to like a 4.05. I think that's
Here you go.
No, I'm not saying bump it up to, I'm not saying bump it up to a 5. I'm just saying.
Oh,
there you go. It's a 4.066.
That's perfect. That's perfect. But what does that ultimately round us out to?
So, the first episode comes out to a 4.605 or 4.61.
So 4.61,
yes,
we'll say.
4.61
4.61 out of 5 stars for the first episode, and a 4.75 out of 5 stars for the second episode.
4.61? That's crazy.
It's pretty good.
We're very loving critics here. We've never been ones to go, hey, we are going to be hard.
I hate this episode.
We love the shit. We absolutely love the shit we talk about. We're never like, oh, well, this was straight up bad.
This
I hated
was
it.
straight up
like
trash.
Predictions, boys. Where are we at with where we think it's going?
Considering what we're about to get in the next 4 episodes, we're giving it a 4.6. That's all I'm saying. Like, we're about to. Darth Vader hasn't even joined the chat, people. But okay.
When do you? I guess the question I've been curious and thinking most about is when my friend even said, like, because I asked him, I was like, do you think we'll get any Vader, like, in costume, like, doing much of anything, like, in the first 2 episodes before they came out? And he was like, I don't know, maybe. And I was like, I don't think we get him until, like, maybe 5. I think 5.
I think we get him like 3. I think like 4. Yeah, 4 or 5.
Hey, here's my thing. I was talking to Michael after the episode, and he was like, he was happy with it, but he was like, I don't know when we'll see Luke again on Tatooine, and I don't think Vader's going to come around until 5 or 6. and I disagreed with both. I think we'll definitely get Luke and Owen and Beru back on Tatooine for sure. And I think Vader comes around next episode.
I think we see
maybe
Vader.
not in relevance. Maybe not in relevance to Kenobi.
I agree with that.
A scene on his own. I think we get a full suited Vader next episode.
I would agree. I think next episode. I think we see Vader next episode, in the full suit, arguing with Reva and the Inquisitors.
Yes.
Because I think we see them like, hey, by the way, we found your main man Kenobi. He escaped again, and they're all gonna,
Oh, if he chokes someone, if he force chokes one, oh my gosh. 5 enjoyment, 5 on the film. 5.
Okay. Could Vader put the pieces together that Leia is like, can he figure out that Leia's his daughter through this, do you think?
No.
I think doubtful.
He doesn't realize he has a daughter until he goes,
he thinks
you have a sister in Return of the Jedi.
He thinks he only has a son.
Yeah, like that's going to be the tough thing is that if you haven't watched the original trilogy in weeks, in months, in a year, go ahead and rewatch the original trilogy to refine your predictions about Vader. Because a lot of the stuff that would be compelling in the series, he doesn't actually figure out until the original trilogy.
I think
so. There's not a lot canonically that can happen with him besides
him being
an interaction with
bad
Kenobi.
I think we see a fight with Kenobi where he thinks Kenobi's
I
dead.
think we get
beyond that. I don't think anything else.
2 fights. One where Kenobi's rusty and he has to leave like right away. We don't really get a good fight, and we're like, oh, what was that? But then the second fight where Kenobi is like
montage.
Full back to Kenobi, full strength, and they just fucking go. I think we get 2 fights is my prediction. I think we get the weak fight, either episode 3, 4, and then we get the fight.
Okay, I can see that. I think there is a fight coming where Kenobi gets his ass.
It may be like 3 episodes, 2 episodes.
No, I think next episode. I think we see a.
You think they fight next episode?
No, not Vader. No, I'm saying I think we have a fight with Kenobi next episode where he gets his shit pushed in.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Then he gets approached by Vader, probably episode 4, gets his shit pushed in again. We get a sick training montage.
I think the first fight is first Vader as well. He will encounter Vader twice.
No, I'm saying I think we see a normal lightsaber fight, a Vader lightsaber fight, he realizes I need to get my shit together or I'm going to get myself killed, and then he fights Vader again.
They have to have
a little more
something.
even.
They have to have something in the show to establish Vader's strength.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we can know in all the words and all how people are scared, but like they have to have something to prove his strength here.
Yeah, because this is the youngest Vader that we have seen. Besides just him standing on the Death Star in episode 3. This is the youngest Vader that we have seen. So if we get to see him in action, it's gonna be lit. This is a 10-year-old Vader. This is a 10-year-old Vader. Like, he's not 20 years old Vader. He's 10 years old Vader. So he's about to be doing some damage.
Balls.
But one thing I also want to say that we didn't mention really. First of all, quick joke. Obi-Wan saying that he's not the person that he used to be. Just Disney's excuse for why we're about to get a sorry-ass lightsaber fight again. Since they've taken over Lucas Arts, That's just a quick joke real quick. But also, on a serious note, the parallels that I wanted to say, like, also with Luke, and we're talking about how it's going to be like a shitty lightsaber fight. Do we think that, like, there was a force disconnect, kind of like with Luke? Do you think Obi-Wan, for the sake of safety and whatnot, he shut off from the Force? Like, Colton, I know you said, it's probably, like, his first time using the Force since, Revenge of the Sith, but, like, do you think that he shut off from the Force?
I hear what you're saying. I think personally, I don't know that he outwardly went to the effort of going, I'm going to cut myself off from the Force. I think he just went so long without using it that he had to.
He called for his master every night.
I think the fact that he clearly has tried to train a little bit and called out for his master. I think I think he's still trying to use the Force at times. Only in training. Yeah. In training, I don't think he can because I think he's just lost faith in the Force.
And you know what? I don't even know for sure that the first time he uses the Force is him saving Leia. Like, that thing in the lab exploding seems weird that it would coincidentally coincide with him entering. Like, I think there's a chance
I thought he
made
just
the
turned a little
pressure
knob.
build up
I
and-
thought he just like turned a little knob like too far.
Oh, I didn't see that. If he did, for sure.
I think he just turned. I don't know if I remember
if that's
that.
the case, cool.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I'm still on the side of Leia being the first time he uses the Force.
Yeah, I think he's kind of shut off. I think he was shut off from the Force, not out of choice, but out of just lack of faith and not being like balanced and shit, because he's,
I feel you.
Gone 10 years of probably crippling depression.
Nah, I feel you.
Whereas Luke was like purposefully, I don't want to use the Force. I hate the Force.
Yeah, he turned a knob, but it's very, very conspicuous in how he does it.
Okay, I didn't catch that. Catch that. I like that more. But yeah, guys, with that, I don't know that I have much else to say about these first two episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Anybody else?
Disney just better, give me. This Star Wars is about more people who are listening to the podcast, who are watching this show, and who watch any of the Star Wars shows from here forth. And, you kind of saw with Bad Batch and other shows or movies like Solo. There is more to Star Wars than lightsaber fights. I just want to make that clear. That is significantly a symbol of Star Wars, but it is not all of Star Wars. It's not what Star Wars is. So, but anyway, I expect Disney to have no excuses for this lightsaber fight. If they want to say, he's not the same person he's been before, that's understandable. Darth Vader usually has a slow fighting style anyway, but I don't want to see any weights being thrown around. These are trained wielders. These are not Rey and Kylo, where there's no established order, no established training. These are trained wielders. I need to see it.
Yeah, I think we're getting a very good fight scene, probably in like episode 5, or maybe even episode 6, between Vader and Kenobi.
All right. But with that, I think we must conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom podcast. This was the first convening of the Council of Kenobi. 'Twas I, Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Well, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it is always a pleasure to have you. And I was also joined by Tillman McClunie. Thank you very much, homie.
Happy to be back, back in business. Like I said, I waited 2 years for this since the speculation, the rumors, and I can look forward to continuing, conspiring with you all, and glad to add some more diversity to the podcast.
Glad to have you, buddy. And as always, we were also joined by Miles fucking Buttress. Thank you very much, homie.
Hey, man, it's been a while since I've said it. Always happy to be here. Happy to come back anytime.
Next week, even?
Mayhaps
indeed. And on the screen below me that I can see and you cannot, I was joined by KBZ Kyler Barnett. Thank you very much, homie.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's good to be back with the boys talking about this shit, so absolutely.
And after over 3 hours of discussion here, if you would, head to patreon.com/KoroBloom, where you'll find over 24 hours of exclusive content. All that money goes back into making sure we can put this podcast on. And make sure you head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod. Absolutely follow Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And for the love of Christ, fuck Toto.